Yeah, he can flash forward with this kind of mode. He can take everything as all the steal comes in for RUKH Esports. Bit of miscommunication there, it seemed like, for S2G, as only a few members were there at the Overlord. But it doesn't matter anyway. S2G are going to clean house, a killing spree. S2G want to end this game right here, right now. One more kill over, killing spree for Durenji. One more kill, the triple kill for Kostra.
So RUKH Esports are taking these 1v1 trades, which is much better than game one, but they are losing so much more here from Closer getting that kill onto Dharma, onto Zhang Fei. Xiao Qiao again still loves.
Want them to get a single bit of gold.
No, so Tyrant goes over to AGHK, so it's obviously just going to serve them very well in this mid lane fight. Mayeen does dive a little bit too far, not back from the Kaiser as well, but the CCMU himself, because he is tanky boy now. He has that ultimate that gives him an 8 seconds invulnerability, and then another kill coming through from Zaze as well on the Hu Yi. The farm lane is getting fat, and Kaiser is picking up the kill onto Mayeen as well. There is a barrage of attacks from all different sectors here on the side of AGHK, really showing what a unit of a team. They picked up this Sunbeam pick because of the synergy with this Kaiser, enabling him to just get in, get sticky. We know this hero is a sticky guy, and with those minions coming around, it is pretty much the single last lifeline for Axe MENA as they're all wiped out. Double kill goes over to Kai.
As you can see, Lady Sun's range just doing so much in the backline. The mobility of Lady Sun as well to tumble every few seconds, as there is a trade kill back in the end. But look at that, 2 high ground towers already going down. They don't even want to go back now. They want to end the game in 7.5 minutes. The engage comes through away again, being able to create that space, create that opportunity. And AGHK 7 minutes and 48 seconds. Hello everyone, and welcome to day number 3 of the Honor of Kings Open Series EMEA Finals. Over the last 2 days, we had 4 amazing quarterfinals, but now 8 teams and now only down to 4. And today we've got 2 more best of 3s to see who will advance to that best of 5 grand final tomorrow and who will be booking their ticket to Malaysia. My name is Stuart, and join me by my side again for today's action is Mr. Blam. Blam, after the quarterfinals, I'm not too sure we could get better than that, to be fair, but we got 2 more amazing semi-finals today.
I mean, if anything's with the Vicious or AGHK involved, I think that they are going to just get that much better as well, because we look at the first bracket we have today is Major Pride versus the Vicious. Again, Major Pride did have that shaky 2-1, the only team to go 2-1 in the entire quarterfinal, and is now going up against the Vicious that took Stalwart Esports. Yes, they didn't have their full roster, but to a very easy 2-0. And then the final semi-finals is S2G against AGHK, which I feel like has the most momentum going into the semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. I think that second best of 3 that we got later on today is going to be an absolute banger. But even the first series as well, take a look at that first series for today. You know, Major Pride versus the Vicious. 2 teams that we didn't really know what to expect coming into this tournament. But both of them, as you mentioned, Major Pride maybe having a little bit of a bumpy ride against Beşiktaş, but the Vicious also doing, you know, incredibly well against Stalwart Esports. Both teams that we don't really know how this series is going to go. I think it's going to be super back and forth, and with how much improvement Major Pride has made since that Invitational Season 1, it's an exciting best of 3 to look at.
I think this is going to be the gauge of how much they have actually improved, to be honest. 'Cause, I mean, a team like the Vicious being able to take a team like Stalwart Esports off of the quarterfinal card already. So I really think that Major Pride, like they wanted to after the beat Beşiktaş Esports, said that they would rather have the Vicious go through to the semi-finals to be their opponents so they can learn. And this is where we're actually going to gauge and see what these players have actually improved and the amount they've improved improved. And the roster for Major Pride is Shizuski, Limski in the jungle, Redski in the mid lane, Kinesis as the farm lane, and then Overlord in the support. So again, looking at the team that beat Beşiktaş Esports 2-1, and then over to the cam here, we see the teams are very patiently awaiting. You could probably, even though we're not in that studio, we can feel that tensions is high within this bracket already.
No, definitely. I mean, being at that LAN environment, they all must be super excited as well, especially after their day one performance as well. You can see them kind of trying to cheer themselves on, try and big themselves up as well. I think it's going to be super exciting. But over on the other side, it is going to be the Vicious with Tommy, MZK, 919, Easy Buy, and Pegasus, a team that really performed above and beyond what we expected from them, because we've thought coming into this tournament that STE was going to do really, really well. You know, Star Wars Esports were going to do incredibly well in this tournament, but the Vicious came out all guns blazing really in that series in the quarterfinals and really put on a show.
Absolutely. I mean, not only just put on the show on the Gorge, but they gave us that little K-pop performance from MZK as well, which I'm never going to forget, because it's little moments like that that kind of bring the esports in and kind of humanize these players as well, which I really enjoy. And there he is, Mr. K-pop himself, only keeping it very simple. No. Just simple. He doesn't want to overbear or overexert that knowledge. We do get a love heart, though, from one of the players on the Vicious. So but yeah, this is going to be a very interesting series, to say the least, because like I said in the introduction, Major Pride were the only team to go 2-1 in the entire of the qualifiers. Is this something that they're going to do in this series as well? Do they have a not so good first game to then have an amazing second game? Because we really saw in their series against Beşiktaş Esports that was the case. It was not just because they had a bad draft, but they knew how Beşiktaş was going to actually perform, and the tempo that they needed to match going into that game too, which I think really helped Major Pride actually secure the victory for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with that first game that we saw a few days ago in day number 1 of this tournament, we saw that in the first game they had a bit of a draft that was a little bit more stable. But hey, enough about that previous draft. Let's get into this draft now. Vicious on the blue side, Major Pride on the red side. And we already have the Arlie and Angela being picked up. And that Doria first pick, still very popular for all of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the go-to. It's, like I said yesterday when we saw, I think it was RUKH Esports who picked it up in one of their games, but there was no real synergy with that hero. So there was no real double ultimate that was going to be a shocker. But speaking of shocker, there is that pocket pick for the side of Major Pride. They're bringing it out in game 1, and it is the Jing in the jungle for a Limski. But also looking at their bands as well, it's the Chow, the Lamb coming through, taking the Kaiser off the board. But a team like the Vicious, I think banning out those jungles is not going to be a thing that really upsets their flow, because every jungler that they've played up to date has been pretty much superb. But looking at the rest of their roster, they have the Princess Frost and the Renji come through as well.
Yeah, that Jing pick was something that I wanted to kind of highlight before we got into the draft, but we got into it so quick that we didn't really have enough time to talk about it. But both of these sides actually did pay Jing in their quarterfinals as well. And it's a hero that has been coming up and getting a lot more popularity as the tournament goes on. Before this Open Series finals, we didn't really get to see Jing that much, only a few games here and there in the qualifiers. But I really feel like it's a hero that players are starting to get more comfortable on as the tournament goes on, and it's a pick that Major Pride played in that game number 2 against Beşiktaş, which got them on the road to that comeback to be able to win that series 2-1 in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's kind of like a late tournament hero pickup, to be honest, because if you start to sort of like exert your skills and showing the teams what you have on that Jing, like in the early phases of a tournament, it kind of makes that hero a little bit more susceptible to a counter. But speaking of counters, you have the like of Huan as well as the Mayeen being picked up on the side of Vicious. Again, Mayeen is going to be able to not only escape the Mirror Blade, but she's going to also be able to kick her away, do copious amounts of combos that is within this this hero's facilities as well. But then if you look over to Hu Huan, she has the untargetable ultimate. So if we see that the Jing goes in with the Mirror Blade, the untargetableness comes through, and we do see that Mosey, Stu's favorite pickup with the obnoxious skill 1 CC, is come through onto the side of Major Pride as well.
Really interesting, the Mosey pickup. I mean, they played against that Mosey against Beşiktaş. You know, we were talking about Orion on Beşiktaş being that kind of pocket pick with that Mosey support. But now Major Pride are just like, hey, we've seen how annoying this hero can be when you're ahead. And I feel like Major Pride is a team that plays a lot more comfortable on the front foot, when they play super aggressive, when they like to play on the front foot. And maybe this is a pickup that can do really, really well for Major Pride. So, I mean, I always say it's kind of a hit or miss hero. It's a hero that when you're ahead can be super obnoxious and be really, really strong. But when you're behind, it doesn't really offer the same as, say, you know, other sort of tankier supports like Dejong Vei, for example, which obviously got banned this time around. But super exciting to see these two compositions come together.
Yeah, I mean, in the EMEA Split finals, we've only ever seen Major Pride actually pick up the Zhongfei, so this is actually the first time they've considered a different support pick. But in those two, out of 3 games that they played the Zhongfei, obviously they got a majority win with the hero rather than without the hero, so losing that optimal support hero that is fantastic for engages as well. I mean, paired with the Jing is pretty phenomenal because you have the sustainability of Zhongfei, you have the pushback as well, just keeping the enemy out of Jing's way. So again, I'm not too sure how the Mosey is going to fit into this and how well it's going to perform. I can imagine it's going to be a counter for the the mid lane on the side of the Vicious as well. So the Princess Frost, obviously, with the zoning, it's going to be tricky to see how they actually make this Mosey work.
No, definitely. I mean, the Vicious also have this composition that's I think this is the first time we have actually seen it in this tournament, but it's something that we were talking about before the Open Series even started, and it was kind of this double support playstyle. You know, they have the Doria as the support on the Vicious, and they also have the Huyan in the jungle as well. And this double supportive playstyle as well with the support, with the jungle, and then you also have the control as well from Princess Frost, going to be extremely powerful. But hey, we're already 30 seconds into this game, and let's get into it. The first of our best of 3s in the semi-finals, the Vicious versus Major Pride. And I'm really curious how this double supportive playstyle from the Vicious comes up against the aggression that's going to come out from Major Prides.
Yeah, I think you're right to sort of pick up on the double support, especially with it being Dolia as well. And as we know, this hero gives over 2, or like you can despair 1 ultimate, you can then go in with another. But we see that front foot gameplay coming from Major Pride already very early on. They are very brawly, and they are definitely looking for the same approach they went against Beşiktaş Esports. Instead of saying, right, we'll wait for the fight to come to us, we're going to give the fight to them, which was a little bit like Axe MENA's approach yesterday. Because they were very sort of brawly. They managed to get first blood in game 1, but in game 2, we saw that HoK was able to bring the first blood to them. So again, fair play to Major Pride. They have stuck to the gun. They did say what they were going to do going into this one is still surprise us with not actually being overwhelmed by the fact that this is a very strong team, the Vicious on the blue side, but they are still going to try and compete and do their best to uphold it. But back onto the point with the Dolia and the Huan is that double ultimate is going to be something that you can use as a bait, but then you've got another one to come around as well. So if you get a dive on from either like the Byron or the Jing, you better have every little bit of luck on your side to think, you know what, I think both of those ults have been exhausted, so I think it's okay to go in. But there's going to be a little bit of that on the side of Major Pride, like just trying to calculate to see what's already been exhausted in terms of their skills on the side of Major Pride.
Bit of a slow start to start things off though in this game. Both teams just trying to trade, going back and forth as well. Definitely a different play style here. Definitely going to come here from MZK, who someone that we highlighted in their first game for the Vicious when he played that Lian Po, playing really aggressive and playing on the front foot, whereas Doria's more of a hero that kind of wants to play on the back foot a little bit, kind of wants to keep that Durenji alive, which is something that has been, growing in popularity. This Durenji versus Ali in the farm lane is something that we've seen pretty much all games being picked or banned as well, to really, really strong heroes at the moment in the current meta. But there seems to be a fight happening near the top side as well. It looks like the Vicious wants to try and steal away the buffs. Not too sure if they were able to secure the buffs in the end, but we only have 40 seconds until these major objectives spawn. So you're probably going to be seeing both the junglers try and path towards this bottom side of the map to try and secure the early tyrants.
Yeah, you're probably more likely going to try and see some sort of effort to neutralize one of the sides down in the farm lane, but it looks like they've already had that tip-for-tap prior, so that could be Major Pride over-expecting the fact that there was going to get a rotation from the Princess Frost and the Huan, because we see those mid and jungle picks always very close-knit, rotating around at the same time when they can. But Jing beautifully missing out that Winter's Coming ultimate there from Princess Frost, so there'll be no frozen onto the Jing for Major Pride. So well played, but here it is, as I've just said. Huan is down there. Princess Frost has now rotated. MZK looking pretty low in that health, but we have Byron rotating around as well, and we know how much damage Byron can do with that first ability. Diving in, we have Alimsky going in straight onto Pegasus, but he's now out of range. There's that on-target ability come through. First blood does go over two. It is a double kill as well. It's not just one. It is a numero dos. First blood on the side of the Vicious, and it looks like they're not just done yet. They are still looking for more.
It did seem like 919 was a little bit caught out, but as you said, that invulnerability, that the ultimate coming out from 919 in the end, being able to bait, and it looked like Major Pride were trying to catch out Pegasus on the backline, but it's actually them that were getting caught out as well. And then that untargetability again coming through from 919, really showing how this pick can be extremely powerful. But there's also the zoning control again from Pegasus on this pick. This Princess Frost that we saw Devil yesterday on AGHK do an incredible job. This hero just offers so much crowd control, so much zoning potential, and so much damage as well with her abilities. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't look like no one is going for this early Tyrant to start things off. 919 just trying to power farm as much as possible right now through the jungle, and it does look like he has a level lead at the moment over Jing, over Alimsky at the moment. And now the Vicious are looking towards this Tyrant, trying to pick it up. We'll have to see if Major Pride want to try and contest this, or if they're just going to back off. But it does look like they're going to get the Tyrant for free for now. That's a little bit of a damage bonus going over to the Vicious.
Yeah, you can kind of see it in that approach down to the farm lane turret as they managed to take it. They was looking for that to be their first objective, but now the next objective is Alimsky being taken down by Tom, and then we see a kill come through from 919 onto Redsky as well. Angela goes down. There is still no kills being put onto the side on the side of Major Pride, but yeah, 919 is just diving crazy just to keep them off that mid lane turret. What a ballsy play there by 919. The Vicious just absolutely taking all that aggro in the backline just so they could keep the mid lane turret from going down, and they don't only secure the first tier turret, they take the second tier as well, all from that one play by 919, just keeping them out of the range of that mid lane turret.
He was in between the tier 2 and the high ground tower. He was just zoning them, as you mentioned, away from the tower. But that little bit of an exchange that happened in the bot side, them getting that Tyrant, gave them that little bit of a boost to be able to take an extremely important team fight for them. It looks like Redski has to play on the back foot as well. But 919 is playing this pick to perfection, really showing how this U1 is played so perfectly in these fights. And again, look at him, super aggressive in the backline. Again, he might get a little bit caught out this time though. The stun comes through, but nothing else is going to happen. The sustain, this double support pick again, the Doria, the Huyan as well, just doing so much for their team, allowing the likes of the front line to do so much work and the back line to just stay alive through all of this damage that Major Pride is trying to deal.
Looking at that timer, I can't help but feel that this is Vicious trying to send a message to AGHK saying that, hey, you can finish a match early. We are going to try and finish both of ours very, very early. I mean, we're on that 7 minutes, not quite the AGHK finish at that 7 minutes and 48 seconds, but it is still a formidable time to actually have at the higher ground turret here. Mayin goes deep in onto Mosey. Down goes that Princess Frost ult as well. Winter is here, but then we have the untargetable. The stun does actually come through, but doesn't quite set up any kills because we see that Huan is able to get out of there. But Angela being used very well by Redski just to keep that minion wave away from that higher ground turret, because once that higher ground turret starts to fall, Stu, I think it's bad news for Major Pride in game one.
As you said, the wave clear from Angela really coming out on top there, really showing how it's kind of the defensive part of Major Pride coming out now. And I feel like they tried to play a little bit aggressive in the early game, but they couldn't really do anything too much. I think it's just really well played, really nice macro coming out from the Vicious in this game. They're able to rotate around the map, steal away these jungle objectives, and group as a unit, which is exactly what they're doing right now. They're grouping up, they're trying to play around invading, trying to play around these picks that they're trying to get. They're going to try and catch up Major Pride. Again, the ultimate comes through from Pegasus, but doesn't really do too much in the end. Just going to be zoning them out with that Princess Frost again. They're just trying to take these high ground towers. The mid lane one is extremely low. That one's going to go down. The high ground tower in the top lane is also going to go down. We are only 9 minutes in. They haven't even gone back to try and take the Overlord. They have just been full aggressive since the first minute of this game. And they are proving why this composition can be so strong. Look at this, 919 playing aggressive, baiting out the ultimate from Redski. But hey, it doesn't matter. I can be untargetable again. I can take more kills over and over again. And they don't even want to go back. They don't even want to try and reset. Another untargetable again from 919. This double support is picked from the Vicious doing work. The Mosey's trying to do something, but he can't do anything at all. 8-0 in kills. The Vicious dominating in game number one.
Just looking how beautifully played Maim was in that entire game was ridiculous. Like, most of the kills went over to Maim. I can imagine that it's going to be either 919 or the Clash Lane on the side of the Vicious Easy Baby going for the MVP in that one, because it was just pure craziness, the amount of just being able just to pick off every hero in those team interactions. And then we saw Byron try and go for like a little bit of a macro play, which probably cost them game one. But when your back is that far against the wall, what else are you supposed to do in that situation? Is it go for a turret? Is it stay in your base and actually get any turrets? Because it means that the Vicious wasn't able to get the perfect game that they desired, it seems.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, it even looked like Major Pride even got a footing in that game. You know, the first few minutes was a bit like kind of standard, but as soon as that Tyrant went down, as soon as the Vicious found their opportunity to play aggressive, to invade in the jungle, Major Pride just couldn't do anything. They just had to sit back, try and clear the waves. They couldn't even find a team fight, and they didn't really have that sort of engage hero. You know, they had the Mosey at the backline who could stun a few heroes, but they had nothing really else to follow. You know, the Jing wasn't really doing too much that game. The Byron couldn't really be that frontline tank, and the heroes like Arlie and Angela, who we know that could be such strong carries and such strong heroes, felt like they just did no damage in that entire game.
I suppose that's what happens when you have no room to farm and you have pressure being put on across every little part of that map of the gorge. And like we say, that middle lane gameplay where we saw that 919 was just able to keep the enemy team from even approaching that first tier turret. And speaking of those kills being racked up by Mayeen, so Easy Baby on the Mayeen getting that 5-0-1. Everybody on the side of the Vicious going for a no death run. They are pros at this game clearly, and Major Pride are probably going to learn a thing or two from game one, because that Jing, we honestly had a little promising gameplay at the beginning of it where we saw quite a vicious attack in the mid lane. I was really hoping for that first blood to go over to the side of Major Pride. Unfortunately, it went onto the side of the Vicious, but I mean, they clearly have the team name the Vicious, because that was a vicious attempt at finishing that game very early in game one.
Yeah, like you said, it looks like they were sending a message really to HK, being like, hey, we are ready for that grand final already. We want to try and take it all. And look at that, a near perfect game from the Vicious. Only one tower going down from Major Pride in the end. And I mean, it has to go back to the draft for sure, I feel like, for the Vicious. You know, this Dolia pick and also the Huyan as well coming through.
Yes.
That double support pick that we were expecting to see in this tournament, but it's either been picked on either side, it's either been banned on either side. This is the first time that we've seen these two picks come together, and the Vicious just proved to us why these two picks should not be going on the same side as one another as we take a look at highlights.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw in the draft of game one where Major Pride actually prioritized that jungle ban, but they somehow missed off Hugh Huan, which would probably be a much better ban compared to like the Masashi. I mean, yes, the Masashi can lock in onto the likes of the Jing and stuff like that, but can't do this. Masashi does not have a sustainability, healing, untargetability in his kit. He is just a samurai at the end of the day, whereas this is like a goddess with sound waves. She can heal, she can become untargetable, she can stun, she can do everything. She can come down with a knockup as well and just clear and take on a whole team fight on her own. Is the reason that was aided by Easy Baby that she managed to get the MVP there, that 5-0-1, like I said in the post game. Straight away it was either Clash Lane or Jungle that deserved that MVP, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, Easy Baby at the end, I mean, got all the kills, but I think credit has to go to 919 and also the MZK in the end as well. I think both of them just allowed Easy Baby to get the 5 kills, to play in the front line, to play super aggressive, because you have the Dolia healing, because you have the aggression of 919 being untargetable and getting even more healing as well. Like I said, Major Pride, you either have to take one of them away or you have to ban them away in game number 2, because we cannot see the same sort of draft as we saw in this game, or we might be getting a very quick 2-0 from the Vicious.
It definitely seems that way. It definitely seems that way. But like I said, I think the Hugh Huan will actually either be banned in game 2 or we may see Major Pride pick that up. But as of yet, we haven't seen Major Pride pick up something like that in the jungle. It's either been the Haino, we've had Jing, we've had Musashi as well. So I'm sure we'll find out very soon. But first, we're going to go for a very short break, guys. So don't go anywhere. We are about to get into game 2 after this short break.
This one. Or this one. No!
What a dumbass.
A fluorescent stone!
You're no good at this.
I've been noticed. Time to fight.
Hey! What are you doing? Hey!
It's just you and me. You give that back.
That's a pair for me.
Again?
Your turn.
Come back and fight!
It's the kid who stole the ship! Get him! He's over there!
Change your run?
So you're not with them? Ladies first! Hey, wait up!
Where's that bomb I got from Mr. RUKH? Got it! Hey, Nisha, firecracker!
A bomb!
Get them!
Leave them to me!
Get her too!
What a pain! Time to end this!
My senses can feel the suspense. Don't be tense, get out the fence. Strike them down with my fight sequence. Let me just take a glance out of all of their tricks. They might put me to the test, but I got finesse. And I feel the opposition, but it won't be for long. Let the story be written, we will riddle the wrongs. How did it get me so feeling better like this? My fate is hanging in the balance of the wind. Trouble's always knocking at my door like a song rapping. Up we're stronger.
Getting away!
You idiots! Get them!
Yes, sir. Nice. Looks like the safest place turns out to be right under your enemy's nose.
Nope, I just got tired of running. The coast is clear now. Let's go. Huh? It's locked.
Ah!
Welcome back to day number 3 here of the Honor of Kings Open Series EMEA Finals. After a dominating first game from the Vicious, from the draft to in the game itself, everything just seemed like perfection. Everything kind of, all the pieces of the puzzle were put together for the Vicious. Everything just seemed to go so well for them in game number 1.
Absolutely. It's a very, very quick match to finish. Like I said, in the game 1, it seems like it is a sign to AGHK that they want to send the Hong Kong China team like, hey, you can finish your games early. We are going to show you that we can too. Because now is all about sort of playing those mind games for your potential enemy in that grand final, because the Vicious are one step closer than anybody else to that grand final right now, and here they are pretty much discussing things of what they should do going into game 2. But like we was having a little quick chat in that break, Stu, it's like Major Pride had no front line. They only really had the likes of the Byron, because, as you said, Mosey, if he struggles to have that early game start and all your other heroes on your team have a really bad early game, it's kind of like a non-start in support. He's just like another offhand mage in a way, because if you build him tank, he's not really going to do anything other than sort of like soak the damage, which, because there was lack of sort of resources on the side of Major Pride, there was no privilege to do that. But speaking of the fix-up in this draft 2, they're literally going for the jugular. With this Fuzi, with this the Chow pickup as well. This is a huge synergy combo that reigns throughout all Honor of Kings, and this is going to be crazy because that Fuzi is more than likely going to be in that farm lane with the Chow, and that teleport mechanic just means it's going to be a quicker game if the Vicious get a handle onto this combo.
First time that the Chow has been picked, I believe, in this tournament. They're going for the pay as well. Vicious are like, hey, we're going to come up with all the unique picks this time around. This is only the second time we've seen pay. This is the first time that we're going to see Fuzi, and the first time we're going to see the Chow as well. And maybe the visuals will show us why the Chow is also incredibly powerful. But we saw, look at the other side of Major Pride in terms of ban. The Dolia getting banned and the Jungler getting banned as well. The Hu Yan as well getting banned. Both of these were such big picks for the Vicious in the first game that Major Pride were like, nah, we're not dealing with any of them in game number 2.
Yeah. GG go next. Let's just get rid of like the 4 troublesome people on the side, 4 troublesome heroes on the side of the Vicious. But if you look at the Vicious's bans, they are all pretty much just trying to counter ban any pick that comes through to try and counter this team comp that they're going for, because right now, like you said, Stu, it's a very even bigger like aggression than their game 1 roster. And just look at it. I mean, they've even gone for the color palette as well. Clearly, the coach is like, yeah, just go for whatever you want. As long as it's got a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow in there, we're good. Because you've got the Chow, you've got Fuzi, you've got Pei, you got Zhou Yu as well in the mid lane. And we all know how much pressure this mage can give in the mid lane with his flames, fanning them, being able to use them on the turrets as well is a huge thing for the Vicious to be able to finish these matches and get these early lane priorities as well on their side. But looking over to Major Pride, they pretty much banned, like you were saying, Stu, 4 out of the 5. If they had 5 bans, I'm pretty sure Durenji would have got banned. Ali would have got banned in that one as well. So, but they do pick up the Durenji and the Byron at the end to fill out their team comp, and they go for a very familiar face, which is the Zhong Fei, and Alimsky manages to get that Lamb as well. So there is more potential in this Major Pride Game 2 draft, but is it going to be anything that can really pair against the Vicious? Because you already know what kind of gameplay they're going to go for. It's going to be pretty much, we're bringing the fight to you, because they got the Pei, they got the Fuzi, they've now got the teleport mechanic of the Chow as well. Zhou Yu has huge pressure that can be put onto your enemy also. So seeing the Vicious's Game 2 draft, but the potential of Major Pride's Game 2 draft is, there's a glimmer of hope, Stu, I want to say. That 25% I gave to MENA, I'm going to bump it to maybe a 35% this time around.
I mean, taking a look at the draft this time around, it definitely looks a lot more stable for Major Pride, but we're going to get things started here. Game number 2 between Major Pride and the Vicious. One more game for the Vicious and they will be able to qualify for the finals tomorrow and maybe come up against a rematch of HoK or maybe S2G in our other semi-final. But I think this is a very unique kind of farm lane combo, I guess you can say, with the Fuzi and the Chow. What's the reasoning behind this Fuzi going in the farm lane? Because if I'm not mistaken, sometimes this Fuzi does go up in the clash lane as well.
Yeah, so the only time we ever see Fuzi in the farm lane is paired with the Chow, because you'll see Fuzi has a very familiar kit to a something you'll recognize. I can't really say it on broadcast, but very similar kit. But paired with the Chow, he's able to sort of teleport out if he goes low health, because he's able to sort of like do so much damage with his very fast basic attacks going into these team fights. But he also has the lockdown as well, so he can put down his little lantern, which corners them into this circle, so they can't escape. And then obviously they can send Fuzi back into the base, bring Fuzi back with full health, and then he can go back at it again. He can go for a round 2, a second swing, much faster than he would be able to without the Chow. So again, this is a huge pickup for the Vicious to really show and showcase the potential of this combo down in the farm lane.
And then take a look at Major Pride as well. If we go off of recency bias, we can see that Major Pride have gone for a lot of very strong picks that we have seen throughout the tournament. You know, the likes of the Renji, the Byron, the Zhongfei as well going over. Princess Frost now going over to the other side. And even the Lamb as well, getting pretty much banned in every single game, now going over to Major Pride. So I feel like if there is ever a chance for Major Pride to try and come back in this series, it's going to be this game, because the Vicious have come out with a draft that has shocked all of us. This is a draft that we never expected to see. There's so many unique picks, so many picks that we haven't seen in this tournament already, and they've come out to play, I feel like, in this game. They're like, okay, maybe a little bit of overconfidence. I mean, we'll have to see with the gameplay, but they're just like, okay, we were dominating in game number 1. We could kind of pick the heroes that we want to in game number 2 and still be ahead.
Yep, so here we're seeing the teleport mechanic come straight through to give such an absolute abuse onto Kinesis down in the farm lane. But this is, again, another great pairing and why and reasoning for the Chow and the Fuzi, because Fuzi naturally has very good attack speed when he builds up those stacks under his health bar, but then you have the movement speed as well on the side of the Chow. So not only have you got a brutal beating with his lantern, you've better run, because he's going to be able to catch you when the Chow is able to activate that movement speed increase with those gates as well. So for taking turrets, this is going to be potentially a very fast game, but Pegasus being able to push them away there with the Shoyu. So well played to Pegasus, almost getting catched out by Olimsky. But you can kind of see what Major Pride want to do in this one. They don't want to go 2 games without a single kill after having such a great redemption for beating Beşiktaş Esports in the quarterfinals.
And they're definitely going to like to look to try and bounce back in this game. But now with the objective spawning, the Tyrant and the Overlord spawning, it looks like Major Pride want to be the one this time to be a bit more proactive. The ultimate coming in from the Zhongfei. The ultimate from Princess Frost as well. Tom is completely caught off guard here. And this is a little advantage that maybe Major Pride will need. But the comeback, the kill back in the end for the Vicious, and it is a 1-for-1 trade right now. But into the back line goes a Byron, but completely caught out by Charlotte, and little bit overextension here from Major Pride. They thought they had the advantage. The Byron went in, but unfortunately all by himself. Didn't have the backup from the rest of his team. And what looked good at the start there for Major Pride with a great pickup with Princess Frost and Zhongfei has turned into an absolute disaster start again for them.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you see in a boxing match where they kind of get pushed towards the ropes. You've got with that Fuzi going there, and you feel like their right hand maybe would have dropped, but then all of a sudden Charlotte came out of nowhere with the left hook, and then once again the right hook recovered, and then bang, we saw a takedown of Major Pride. But it is already an improvement here for Major Pride because they're able to actually take a kill in game 2. So it's already taken that stain off their name by being able to get that. But face check there, the Fuzi out of the brush, because you don't want Fuzi diving in onto the Renji, because even his cleanse cannot get him out of that ultimate. So again, you can see why they've gone for the Fuzi once more, because the only thing that cleanse can't stop is suppression and the Fuzi ult. So let's see what they do here. Again, Charlotte being fed up. Easy Baby has been like throughout this entire series. He clearly must be hungry in real life, because they're just giving over all these kills to Easy Baby, and it doesn't matter what hero he picks up. The Mayeen, now the Charlotte, doesn't matter. He's getting those kills.
And every single kill. I believe that's 9 kills now over the series, and still not a single death as well, as the hook comes in here from the Fuzi. Nothing else going to come out of it just yet. But even with them being at a disadvantage on the bottom side, I believe it's a 4 versus 3 with so many members of the Vicious being on the top side of the map. They're still confident enough, the Vicious, that they can take more towers, more objectives, and more kills as well. The first tower's already gone down in that top side for Charlotte. Going to be pushing out this lane just for now, and the healing coming in from Charlotte as well is so big when it comes to these tower dives and comes to these team fights that it's so difficult for Major Pride to deal with. And again, there are 3,000 gold deficit just 6 minutes into this game. Maybe not as dominant as what it looked like in game number 1, but that can soon turn real sour real quick here as they look to try and push towards this bottom side of the map. And you're seeing Pegasus here as, oh, it looks like Pei actually got caught. And also, wait, hold on. They got 2 kills. They caught out Charlotte, and also they've caught out Pei as well. So 2 kills over to Major Pride, looking to play more aggressive as they're trying to get a catch here in this bottom side onto Tom. Tom trying to stay alive, trying to auto-type, try and get all the stacks, but the teleport back into the base. Oh no, it's why this pick is so frustrating to play against. The teleport back into base, and that means that the Fuzi stays alive, but Lamb is able to get a tower into that top side. So they've done quite well here to kind of come back and get a few kills and maybe a few mistakes coming in from the Vicious here.
Yeah, a little bit of a overconfidence, like you did state in the draft there with this team comp, because again, it is Vicious, but they have clearly overestimated Major Pride, because yes, they didn't have a great game 1, but they're currently trying to make their way back and sort of put some more respect on the name by taking a few turrets, by picking up a few kills this time around as well. Tom with his tomfoolery, being able to get out there with that teleport coming through as well. He's sticking in that circle so he can get back, but do a lot of damage onto Zhang Fei as well. The tomfoolery is back into it now. I think every time I see a hero get taken by that teleport, I'm going to use Stu's favorite word, yoink, and it's going to just go. That's my new thing. It's just every time someone gets taken away by that teleport back to base, it's a yoink move.
I mean, the Chow even using the ultimate in the end as well was so smart, like being able to do it. And 2 more kills though for Major Pride, maybe a 3rd as well. And again, it's the Vicious playing a little bit aggressive in the enemy's jungle, and a killing spree now for Princess Frost, and a few kills over to Suzuki with that Tyrant coming back up and available as well. You could be seeing a bit of a comeback here for Major Prides.
Yeah, I mean, even more so that mid lane turret going down first for Major Pride. So again, we know how vital that mid lane turret is, and they're actually able to pick up a jungle objective this time. Easy Baby going in as well. It is a 4v1. I'm not too sure what he was thinking. I think he was hoping the 919 and MZK were going to be a little bit faster, especially with the Cho's movement speed increase onto these heroes, but it just wasn't quick enough. She got decimated within that 4v1, and again, I don't understand the methodology going into that 4v1 with the Charlotte, but we know the odds. You're not coming out of that one alive.
Look at that gold difference now as well. It was a 700 gold lead for the Vicious, and now it's just shot right up to nearly a 2,000 gold lead for Major Pride. The Vicious just getting caught completely off guard in that bottom side of the jungle, and everyone with Major Pride were there and showing this composition is still strong. You know, the Vicious have gone for these unique picks that we haven't really seen too much of. Maybe being like, okay, like I said, we can maybe pick what we want because we know that we are a better team. But Major Pride are like, hey, you can't disrespect us like this. As it looks like the Vicious are actually trying to sneak away the Overlord here, just over the wall. But the damage from Pegasus over the wall, all the flames as well. And looks like they will secure the Overlord. Bit of a little sneaky maneuver there, but it is traded back with the Tyrant by Major Pride. So more damage buffs happening to Major Pride, but the Vicious do have a Shadow Vanguard that they can use in one of the lanes.
Yeah, it's definitely working to their benefit here, and I think this is also the only downside of having that Fuzi down in the bot lane is the fact that the Renji is able to out-farm what is meant to be their farm lane ADC, their attack damage carry, but it seems like this is the reason, and the only sort of like win condition they have is making sure that the Renji gets up in those gold, because he is a considerable gold difference in that lane alone, and you just saw the potential of this. The Renji, and again, just a 4-man barrage onto that second tier turret in the mid lane. The teleport comes through, but unfortunately not really anything else is going to happen. It's going to go back to base now. Oh, Lamb knocks him out of the teleport. That was beautiful by Olimsky. He's not done. Tom goes down as well, and that's what you get with tomfoolery on the side of Vicious. They don't care about those Overlord Vanguards. They have minions in the mid lane, but Shoyu is there to defend the base. Not any longer. He's gone. He went quicker than Christmas this year. But it could be game 2 going over to Major Pride here, Stu. What is going on?
What an insane comeback here from Major Pride. 3,000 gold down in the early game, but they got pick after pick after pick with Major Pride, and showing how this composition could be rounded out so well with so much crowd control. And you saw the Vicious trying to go for miracle play with that D'Chao, trying to teleport everyone into that bottom lane, trying to use that Shadow Vanguard to try and maybe end the game and get a little bit of a pick. But Major Pride were like, wait a second, there's no one covering the mid lane. They're all in the bot lane. Let's go and kill them. Let's go and take them all. The D'Chao tried to teleport all of them back to the base, but the CC from the Zhang Fei in the end pushed them out of that teleport, being able to secure every single kill in that bot lane. And they just went for the end. Like, what a completely different game that we saw. And like I said at the start, this draft from the Vicious is really not it, to be fair. I do not know what they were thinking with this draft.
Yeah, I think that draft generally comes through when you kind of underestimate your opponent, and Major Pride perfectly display there of showing how they've definitely been understated and overlooked and probably stained by that Season 1 Invitational where they didn't pick up a single round. But as they said, after beating Beşiktaş Esports, they haven't shown everything that they have managed to improve yet. And going forward with the Vicious, they want to play a strong team so they can learn from them. But right now, this game one, I mean, this match one is anybody's call. There is one more game on the board right now, thanks to Major Pride for that amazing sort of it was the pure combination of the Zhang Fei, the Lamb as well, being able to push them from that teleport. Because if that teleport came through for Fuzi, and I believe there was somebody else in there, I don't think it was quite the D'Chao, but if they was able to go back to the base, they could have easily kept that base alive. But down to it was then show you that was only available in that mid lane to try and keep the crystal alive. And unfortunately for the Vicious, it's not going to be that simple 2-0 that they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, after game number one, we really thought it was going to be a 2-0. We really thought it was going to be a clean sweep. But again, you know, the Vicious coming into this with a very unique farm lane. This Fuzi just could not get going this game. Only 6,300 gold in the end. And kind of alluding back to what you were saying during the game as well, Blam, is that when you pick this Fuzi pick, you don't really have that sort of, you know, long range marksman in that farm lane because you're not able to get that long range damage. Whereas like the Renji on the other side, you have so much crowd control, you have so much damage. And this Fuzi just couldn't get going. Like, look at the damage. Only 94,000 damage there for the Fuzi. Only 9% of his teams. Like, even the support nearly doing more damage than Fuzi in the end, which just goes to show that this pick just did not work right now. They got a bit of an early lead. They got an advantage in that bottom side, and Charlotte getting a few kills as well again, but I'm not expecting the same draw from the Vicious in this third game. They're probably thinking to themselves now, like, oh, whoops, that was a mistake. And now they've only got one more game, and Major Pride kind of have the advantage in the tempo going into this third game.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely going to be a dampener for the team, coming from that, what was a 8-9 minute game in the first game one, and then now we saw a lot of tit for tat, a lot of I think the main thing that was the issue was that we were seeing quite a bit of ferocity for the Vicious in the early game, but it never actually sort of like saw anything through. They didn't really plan anything, but here you go. We saw Zhang Fei being able to pick up because of that crucial crowd control from the Byron, getting that double kill and then triple kill onto Show You, and then taken down as well thanks to Derenji. But again, it was just a beautiful, well-rounded draft. And like I did say in game two, not to discount Major Pride's draft, they did have a fantastic draft. I gave them that extra 10%, but that was all they needed. And the MVP goes over to Redski on that Princess Frost. And I can imagine that the Vicious aren't going to make another mistake like that, allowing such very strong picks go through onto the side of Major Pride.
And Princess Frost, 100% win rate in this series so far. Win over to the Vicious, and now the win over to Major Pride. And we'll have to see how game 3 is going to turn out in this series now, because this went from the Vicious dominating in game number 1 being way too overconfident in game number 2 and kind of Major Pride saying like, hey, you cannot make these over aggressive plays. You cannot look to try and invade through the jungle when we have everyone around, because we could just pick you off guard. And I don't want to take anything away from Major Pride. They had a really strong game, but I feel like it was just mistake after mistake from the Vicious, you know, not really playing around their team composition well and not really getting a draft well that could be done in the end and could take at 2-0 in the end. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in game number 3.
Absolutely. I mean, I do have to give props to Major Pride, though. Obviously, seeing them from Season 1 Invitational and being the only team to take a round off these stronger teams in this Open Series EMEA Final Split 1 as well. So I do have to give props to them. But the deciding match is going to be up next. But first, we're going to have a little short break. So make sure you don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss to see who comes out as the first semi-finalist in this Open Series. So we'll see you soon.
I heard there's a mermaid in this area.
Out of 10 Navinians, 11 would tell you that they've heard the mermaid singing.
I wouldn't mind hearing it too.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Welcome back to day number 3 as Blam caught. Oh, he's caught. He's caught.
Oh no! I was getting hydrated.
He's completely caught there. It just went from just quickly, just went like, oh, Blam's like, yeah, I've got 5 seconds left. I can have a quick drink. I caught. Production caught him off guard. Welcome back to day number 3. Welcome back to the first semi-final of the Open Series here. Anything can happen, really, Blam. Take a look now, going into game number 3 of this first series of the day. The first game was very dominant from the Vicious. The second game started off good for the Vicious, but Major Pride made an incredible comeback in that game number 2. And now I feel like this draw from the Vicious in game number 3 is not going to be anything like what we saw in game number 2.
No, I don't know who got caught worse, me taking a sip of water or the Vicious in game 2 there. But all I have to say to the Vicious is don't pick your draft like you pick your IKEA furniture. It's not going to work if you get it all matching, just like your home decor is not going to work in that draft. We need something a little bit with way more sustenance for them to be able to beat Major Pride. Because, again, Major Pride found a workaround to that Dachau and Fuzi team comp. They kept the RNG fed, and then when it came to that very crucial teleport towards the end of the game, Lam and Zhongfei came through with knocking everybody out of that teleport, because if that actually came through, we probably could have been seeing a 2-0 straight away. But I do have to give mad props to Major Pride for being the only team that's been able to take a round off of the Vicious other than AGHK. So I think that's a huge thing for this Eastern European team, because RUKH Esports didn't really get too far. But here it is. The draft is looking a little bit more sensible on the side of the Vicious. They do go to the blue side because they think, hey, we can't mess around anymore. We need that priority pick, and that priority pick is the Lamb.
Yeah, Lamb going to be picked up. We've seen how dominant it was in game number 2 by Major Pride as well, and also picking up the Arlie. So again, we're not going for this crazy draft this time from the Vicious. There you go. These are picks that we know that the Vicious are going to play. These are the picks that we thought we were going to see from the Vicious. Pegasus on the Angela now. One of the picks, one of the highlights really from that 2-0 victory from the Vicious against Star Wars Esports in that quarterfinals. But you do still have the Zhongfei and the Princess Frost on the other side, and also going for the Musashi in the jungle as well. So overall, standard picks and bans to start things off. One pick that has not come out yet is the Hu Yan, which is not going to be picked at all, it seems like, in this game, because both the junglers have already been picked.
Yeah, unless they decide to play in the unconventional lane of support role, I don't think we'll see that come through, and it won't even need to be banned, because, like you say, it kind of baits the Vicious into picking up that Lamb in the priority pick on blue side, is because if they pick that up, they know that the jungle is going to be safe from that absolute abuser that is Hu Huan as well. But I had a really sneaky suspicion that Major Pride was actually going to pick up the Musashi this time around, and I think linked in with Winter is Coming from the Princess Frost, and then obviously Unbridled Rage from the Zhongfei, I think is probably a really good combo, because your ultimate enables you to just hone in and take out a single target. But if you look over to the side of the Vicious, they've gone for the Angela, which has that CC immunity, so we already know that one of those heroes is going to be safe, which is more than likely going to be the Angela. But the other two picks that have already come up onto the side of the Vicious are also very slippery to lock down, the Lamb and the Arlie.
Definitely very slippy, but you do have the lockdown though from the Musashi, which is definitely going to help out Major Pride, I feel like, in this game. And again, you kind of have that CC chain that we saw in game number 1. But the Vicious bringing out the Lian Po. I'm excited for this. We saw how MZK played Lian Po before. I'm excited to see it again. And then we also have the Dharma, is it?
Dharma,
in the end, there you go. Wow, my memory is going good this time. But the Dharma in that clash lane to come up against the Byron. But I'm super excited to see MZK again on this Lian Po.
Yeah, they're definitely gone for a little bit more of a conservative, flashy team comp this time around, rather than a very sort of zesty team comp that was very flashy, but it just enabled so much room for fault on the side of Vicious in game 2. But then they pick up that Lian Po, which we saw in their quarterfinals match, and it is definitely the big guns. That Lian Po's engage potential with the Lamb as well is just going to be absolutely beautiful, because if either of those heroes don't pick off the enemy heroes, you've got the Dharma as well. And then if that doesn't happen, you've got Angela that's going to be sitting in that back line like, yo, I've got Blazing Brilliance on all of you. I'm going to literally just wipe out all your health. And then you've got Arlie that can come out of nowhere with a parasol. You've got a fear. You've got to have a phobia of parasols in this game 3, because if you don't, you're going to be caught very well by the Vicious. But they do pick up the Marco Polo this time around on the side of Major Pride, which is very interesting, because we don't see this pick come through often. And when it has, I don't think it's won a single round yet.
No, not yet, unfortunately, but maybe they can turn around this time around. As looks like we're having a bit of an issue on stage at the moment, so there might be a slight delay in terms of when the game will start. But yeah, you talk about the mobility that kind of the Vicious have in this game, but I really like how Major Pride again have kind of gone for a very similar composition that they won in game number 2. They don't have the Liam or the Derenji like before, but they got the kind of the core of the composition, you know, the Princess Frost, which I think is going to do really well, this young Faye, and also this Musashi as well. And I think they do have a lot of lockdown to actually kind of catch maybe the Vicious off guard, because I feel like, yes, they have a lot of aggression, yes, they have a lot of mobility, but if you get caught by the Musashi ultimates, then you can get CC Che by the Shang Fei, by the Princess Frost, and then even the likes of the farm laner for Major Pride can then jump in as well. But already, it looks like MZK again playing super aggressive. This is something that we saw him do in the quarterfinals, but maybe it's just a bit too far this time. First blood over to Major Pride, not even a minute into this game. And this is something that we expected from MZK on this Liam Poe, is the exact same play style that he was playing in that quarterfinals versus STE. And now it might be the Clash laner also having to blow the flash as well. So Major Pride doing a great job in these early few minutes to get a few advantages around the map.
Yeah, this Byron pickup is definitely it's more of my favorite term, vanilla pick. It's a great pick, but at the same time, it's a little bit boring, but has very good playmaking potential. Not in terms of flashiness, but in pure attack damage. This hero is pretty much unpaired to anybody else when it comes to sort of the ease of his kit, but also the timing for the kit as well. Just like the Angela in the mid lane, it's that same kind of vanilla pick. It plays very easy, but it has huge potential in these competitive matchups. So, and you saw it there, able to take the first blood from MZK. So that's going to be a little bit of bonus gold going over to the side of Major Pride, and they're able to actually take a first blood in this entire best of 3. So already looking like a very, very confident stand-in for Major Pride at the moment. But I think Zhang Fei's learned his lesson, not to stick around in that mid lane, because it's only a few steps away for Byron just to come through and have his way with that Zhang Fei. Already looking for an insult onto the Sage buff right now. The Sage Golem coming through, but they're not going to be able to sort of try and keep that from the Lamb, because you don't want it to give it over to the Lamb, because Musashi kind of needs that for that cooldown reduction on all his skills.
Yeah, you can already see this Liam Poe MZK playing super aggressive. The ultimate comes through from Zhang Fei, only catches out MZK, but has to go forward, has to go backwards as well, and just make sure that you stay alive. MZK blowing the flash again to make sure he gets away to safety. And 919 also had to dash away as well. So it looks like the Vicious are trying to use this Liam Poe to invade the jungle as much as possible, and using that aggressive pick of the Lamb as well, because every single time these buffs come up and available, like look again, Liam Poe in the enemy jungle trying to steal away the objectives. It seems to be working out pretty well so far, because even though the first blood did go over to Major Pride, the gold is still pretty much even. So this pick from MZK just trying his best to try and kind of make Major Pride feel a bit uncomfortable even in their own jungle.
Yeah, I think that's the only way they're going to sort of like try and catch this early game, is just keep them guessing in their own jungle, because if you don't feel safe within your own environment, it kind of is a little bit of a troublesome afterthought when you're going into these engages. But we get a nice little wave clear from the Lamb, already sticking around in that Clash lane, trying to pay the Suzuki back for that first blood. However, Lamb is far away. They could hopefully take this Tyrant down, but there is a bit of pressure coming onto the side of the Vicious here. The Liam Poe engage going in onto Alimsky. Alimsky manages to get pushed away again, but Arlie meets her maker. Musashi getting the kill there. We see Liam Poe doing a lot of damage onto the Marco Polo takes down the Liam Poe. That's what I was meant to say, but there was a lot of swirling and twirling. I got a little bit confused, but the Tyrant does still go over to the side of Major Pride. So overall, that was a major victory there for Major Pride in the early game.
Yeah, Limsky doing really well again to kind of lock down the back line, which is what I was expecting to see from him in this game. It was a 2-for-1 trade, though, in the side of, you know, Major Pride, so getting a few extra kills as well. And like you said, they also got the Tyrant, so pretty good stuff here from Major Pride. A really strong team fight for them to come up on top with. But again, you're looking at... Look at MZK, like look at his position right now on the minimap. Look where he is on the minimap. I mean, he's going to get support from his team now as well. As you're looking at the invaders coming back through, they're trying to steal away this buff. The buff actually went over to Redsky in the end. And maybe they're just going to get completely caught out as no, they're not. The Vicious taking another kill. They're not going to take the red buff. It's actually taken away by Princess Frost. But they were still able to get an advantage with a kill in the end. And I feel like the Vicious are just not going to stop here with their picks.
Yeah, it's all about getting that Lamp into a position where he's way above the gold compared to the enemy Musashi and anybody else on the side of Major Pride. And currently, looking at his level, he's level 10 as well. So he's got the anti-squishy item, and there's a lot of squishiness on the side of Major Pride, but the Dharma manages to pick up that kill onto the Musashi in that replay. But once again, it seems to be a trending topic for MZK and 919. They love to be where they should not be. They should not be on that side of the jungle, but it's definitely working for this side of the Vicious.
Yeah, it's what they know and what they probably feel comfortable with as well, as they've been playing throughout this whole tournament. As I mentioned already, this is the same sort of picks that they went in the quarterfinals as well, and it's the same play style as well. But Major Pride are definitely keeping their own this time. They're not letting the Vicious take away these objectives. They're not letting them get away with murder and more, pretty much, that they're going to try and get away with in this game. Vicious looks like they're going to try and farm up and try and secure their own objectives, which are doing pretty well so far. You know, even though the Vicious have played super aggressive and they're looking to play aggressive, look again around this red buff, you're already seeing 4 members of the Vicious here trying to take the buff away. And this time Major Pride knew that they were at a disadvantage, so they didn't want to take that fight, because they knew the last time they took that fight they lost a member as well. And every single time that the Vicious have that opportunity, they're looking to go for it. And now they're going to try and go for the mid lane tower as well. And Princess Frost completely exposed underneath the tower. Overlord actually going there just to clear the minion waves. They're not going to be able to take the mid lane tower. But that's Princess Frost completely caught there, not knowing what really hit her.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a factor of not knowing what hit her, or it was planned, because Marco Polo managed to get that farm lane turret as well, so it's a little bit of a decent trade. But however, Zhang Fei does go down, so their backbone is being dislocated for a little while on the side of Major Pride, and this is where they could get that mid lane turret. So what Princess Frost was trying to stop, and with the Marco Polo going full hard on the farm lane turret, is definitely not paying off here now, because we have Redsky back into the mix. But MZK again being somewhere where he shouldn't, between the turrets. Again, we see Liam Poe go down to Marco Polo. He is just a little bit too far ahead of himself. 919 trying to help himself to the Sage buff. He doesn't manage to secure it, though. It goes over to Shizuki.
And it just looks like Major Pride are starting to get into their own. You know, we talk about the semi-final that happened for Major Pride. It's kind of the same thing that's happening in this game, whereas the first game, they didn't really look too comfortable at all. They kind of need one game to kind of turn things around, and that's what they're trying to do this time, as it still comes through from Pegasus. Where was the smite? They have double smite there, and actually, if the Alimsky was in the top side, but still, they had a smite there from Overlord, and they wasn't able to secure it in the end. So really nice steal there from Pegasus, trying to keep them in this game. And now Limsky might be in the wrong side here, as he does take one kill, but it is going to be traded back. A 1-for-1 trade in this top side. The tower is going to go down, but the rest of the cavalry is here from the Vicious. That mobility that you were talking about in the draft, Blam, you know, the Ali coming through, the Liam as well. So many dashes, so much mobility on this side. And if Major Pride do get caught, then there's such an easy way for the Vicious to jump on top of them.
Yes, it's the 5 Ds of HoK. It is dash, 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 and dash. Unfortunately, on the side of the Vicious, they are able to have so much dashes, like you've just said there, Stu. And again, it looks like another turret takedown for them. MZK taking and soaking a lot of that damage. The Winter's Coming is definitely doing its job by zoning them out of there, but it is... literally so close to taking down the Liam Poe, but it just wasn't enough. There's not enough damage on the side of Major Pride here. Marco Polo just wasn't able to get in. Alimsky a little bit deep here. Zhongfei pushing back, but Lamb's able to push himself forward and persevere, but Dharma is in the back of the queue, taking down Marco Polo once again, and Easy Baby is up next. Down goes Dharma. It's a double kill over to Alimsky, so even though they are at the higher ground turret in that mid lane, it is not over yet for Major Pride.
Again, Major Pride keeping to their own, keeping incredibly strong as Sushki needs to be really careful. The damage is really coming through now for Pegasus on this Angela pick. So much damage, so much burst damage as well. They're still trying to take the Tyrant. Let's just pray that they've got their smite button available this time around. They do. It is a Zhongfei who secures it this time around. But this is such a back and forth game plan. You know, we take a look at game number 1, how dominating Vicious was. In game number 2, Major Pride coming back with a pretty convincing win. This game is still anyone's to win. I feel like it's just anyone's game right now and anyone can take it.
Yeah, just one bad play away for the victory, I think, at this point, because we are getting into that 11-minute mark. So the Shadow jungle objectives are coming through, so Overlord and Tyrant, and we're seeing these team fights getting even closer and closer, and the Overlord does go over to the side of the Vicious, as we see that Musashi was trying for a great effort to sort of go for that macro play and take that second tier turret in the farm lane. However, the Shadow Vanguard is going to stop that, unfortunately, for the side of Major Pride. So it's kind of like a non-starting tactic there on the side of Major Pride, unfortunately. And again, it looks like the Vanguard's going to be able to clean up that first tier turret that they were hanging on to very dearly in that farm lane.
Yeah, the Shadow Vanguard is going to keep pushing in that bottom side at the moment. You can see the rest of the Vicious rotating at the moment, going down and trying to take more towers, more objectives, and it still is Major Pride on this back foot. But even though Major Pride have been on the back foot for most of this game, they have still found advantages. They have still found little trades here and there to try and come out on top. And they're trying their best at the moment to defend these high ground towers. The eventually dive goes in. They get 1 kill, but they might be losing more though. 919 dashing all the way into the backline. Actually loses his life for it as well. But it doesn't matter about the high ground towers. 919. Oh my, so many dashes, so much damage. I thought they were going to wait for the high ground towers to drop, but they were like, nah, we don't need the high ground towers. We don't need that. We need the kills. We want to end this game right here, right now. The Vicious are first finalists going into tomorrow's grand final.
Yeah, what a absolute effort, though, I have to say, for Major Pride, because, again, being somebody that's seen them in Season 1 and not taken a single victory at all, and they've come all the way to the semifinals, taken a victory from one of the best teams within the EMEA Split 1 finals, and they actually made the wildcard bracket bleed. Nobody else has managed to. Stalwart didn't manage to. We didn't see MENA able to. The next person that is going to be having a good shot at it is S2G. But again, well played to the Vicious towards the end of there. And as you said in the game, Stu, it was anybody's game at that one point. But like I said, it was just one bad play away for that victory. And it just happened to be for the Vicious.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like one good play for the Vicious in the end. Definitely, you know, just that dive underneath that high ground tower. I really thought that Major Pride were going to defend their own, that they were going to try and find that fight. It looks like, you know, Line 19 in that last team fight was going to go down, but just so much dashes, so much mobility, so much healing as well coming from this Lamb pick, just proving why this hero is either a ban worthy or first picked every single time on the blue side. And it was so close, like you mentioned, for Major Pride. I mean, huge props to them, you know, from the Invitational Season 1, not picking up a single game, losing every single game in under 15 minutes, to beat Beşiktaş 2-1, to take Vicious all the way to game number 3. And to be honest, taking them all the way in that game number 3 as well. They were one player away from turning that series around, exactly what they did against Beşiktaş. They weren't able to do it this time, but I've got really high hopes for this team going forward because it looks like they're just improving time and time again.
Yeah, and I mean, that's probably the greatest sign of a brilliant team, is just seeing them improving, because we could have seen a team come from Season 1 go straight into the open split, because we thought that these teams had never been tried and tested, but it's clear that it's just the fact that Major Pride have improved tenfold, and I can't wait to see them in the next upcoming tournaments and see how they improve going against such a team like the Vicious. But looking over to the Lamb there, he didn't even build the HP regen item either in his kit, so for him to just have so much on-hit heal is just crazy for this hero. And like you said, it's the reason why he is banned pretty much, or a prio pick on the blue side. But looking at that damage dealt, 41% on the side of the Vicious being the highest stat there. And then you look over to the side of Major Pride, and then you see it's 33.8%. So it's not a huge difference, but it's definitely a noticeable difference thanks to the Lamb just being able to sort of like dash, attack pretty much everybody within his area of effect as well. So just giving a major props to the Vicious once again. Not getting as many of the... Actually, no, they equal with their jungle objectives. Sorry, I just saw the one all the way down at the bottom of that. Shadow Overlord there. But you can see that Major Pride wasn't able to pick up a single Overlord. If they managed to, would it be a different story? Potentially.
Yeah, in the end, I think the Vicious doing an incredible job as we take a look at the highlights as well. And this early game, as we mentioned, you know, was super back and forth, Blam. I feel like it was the Vicious playing super aggressive, which is what we expected with this Liam Poe pick, and maybe what Major Pride expected as well, because both these teams would have had a day to being able to, you know, see how the teams play, see how the picks play as well, and they would have realized, Major Pride, how aggressive this team plays with this Liam Poe pick. And they were able to catch the Vicious off guard a few times, with them getting the first blood, with them getting a few kills as well up in that clash lane. But it just never seemed like they got a footing in this game. Like, they took one step in with a few of these kills, but it couldn't get both feet in. You know, they were getting these single kills here and there, but it just didn't look like they had any control over the map, because the Vicious would just invade time and time again, just over and over again, keep on invading, keep on playing aggressive. And in the end, that's what kind of won them the game, being able to, you know, dive underneath the high ground tower, taking that last team fight.
Yeah, you've probably got people watching this at home thinking why they didn't ban out the Liam Poe, knowing that it was such a potent pick for the side of the Vicious. But again, it could either be down to the detriment of not knowing that on the side of Major Pride, which I definitely think it would not be the case of that. But I think it was more so the case of, we've got Byron, we'll try and just basically mentally manipulate the Liam Poe in that early game, like we saw with that early takedown. But Pegasus actually takes the MVP this time for the Vicious with that 69.9k damage. Didn't lose a single life. Was able to soak quite a lot of the damage as well. Not quite as exciting in terms of that 6.8k gold received, but again, that is unfortunately the end of the road for Major Pride. But they gave them their darndest all the way to the end, and being the only team to take a point off of every other team that they've gone against, so I have to give them massive props.
They've done extremely well for this tournament. Again, it's going to be super exciting to see how the team improves. So I think the team will just keep on improving, keep on learning. And it was something that they were mentioning as well, as like going to these LAN events, playing off against some of the best teams, is how they're going to improve, is how these teams are going to improve, and how the region in general, you know, how EMEA is going to improve as well. But we're going to be taking a short break. When we come back, we are going to see interview. Sorry.
انا امبارح قلت ان اليوم الثالث كان غلط. اليوم احنا اليوم الثالث وعندنا نصف النهائي الاول خلص بفوز فريق ذا فيشس على ميجر برايد بسكور 2-1. وعندنا هون 919 اكيد شفتوه امبارح بالمقابله، رجع لنا مره اخرى هو والمدرب تبعه. فاليوم حنسال 919 شويه اسئله عن رايهم بهاي المباراه. 919 first game your score 8-0. You didn't lose a single hero in that game. What was the strategy? Did you have something prepared for it?
Because we believe in our hero. I think that is the best for us.
اوكي، فانا سالته اذا كان عنده استراتيجيه معينه بالجيم الاول، لانه ما خسروا اي لاعب هذيك المباراه، كان سكورهم 8-0. حكى لي احنا الدرافت تبعنا صراحه كان كتير قوي. واللي حجيبنا على السؤال الثاني. The second game you were trying the Chow, which is surprise pick. What happened?
We tried the new draft. Our mistake in game. Yeah, there's the new hero we tried. Yeah.
And it didn't go very well, right?
Huh?
It wasn't so good.
Yeah.
What was it?
It didn't go well in the scrims as well, but we tried for one game. Like, let's see if it works for the finals, but it didn't work, so like, it's whatever.
اوكي، فهم انا سالته الجيم الثاني جربوا الهيرو داتشاو، فكان اختيار غير موفق لانهم خسروا بطريقه سيئه صراحه. فسالته انه ليش اخترتوا هذا؟ قالوا احنا حبينا نجرب شيء جديد، نورجي استراتيجيه جديده. حتى المدرب بحكي لي احنا حتى لما بالسكرمات لما بنختار بنخسر. فانا مش عارف، كان محاولة انه يفاجئوا نفسهم ويفاجئوا عدوهم، ولكن يعني ما زبطت بالاخير معهم. اوكي، and when you lose second game, what did you talk to each other, your teammates? What did you guys say?
No, just lose our mistake, but we still think we are stronger. Yeah.
اوكي، فانا سالته اذا يعني بعد ما خسروا الجيم الثاني هل كان عندهم يعني هل حكوا شيء بين بعض انه يا اخوان شو نعمل هلا، شو الاستراتيجيه؟ فحكى لي لا، احنا كنا عارفين انه هي الدرافت كانت غلط، فاحنا رجعنا لجيمنا المعتاد وصراحه قدرنا نرجع بالجيم. Now you are your next opponent. Maybe you will face AG, Hong Kong, or maybe S2G. Who do you want to play against?
AG Hong Kong.
This is the same question I asked him. سألته إذا حابب تلعب ضد AG ولا SG، لسه مصر على AG. Okay, any last word maybe you want to say here before going to the final?
Thank you for supporting us, everyone from all around the world. Thank you again.
And what will you guys do now that you're done?
Just scream more. It's not enough. We have to practice more to win the finals.
اوكي، فانا سالته انه عندك كلمات اخرى قبل ما نروح للنهائي بكره. قال لي ما عن اي شيء نحكيه اضافه، انه بس شجعونا وادعمونا لانه المباراه حتكون قويه بكره النهائي. وقلت له برضه يعني شو حتعملوا هلا لانه خلص اليوم؟ قال لي حنرجع نعمل سكريم اكثر واكثر واكثر، بدنا نضل جاهزين للنهائي. Thank you 919. Thank you Mr. Coach. وهذا كان كل ما لدينا في هذه المقابله. نرجع للزيكا والمحللين الكل.
Nice to hear there from 919 and also the coach, as I'm the one that gets caught this time completely off guard. Blam was caught with the drink. I was caught because I thought it was a break, but it was actually an interview. So 1-1 now, Blam. We're even now in the end. But great to hear from 919. It's interesting that they talk about that game number 2, you know, talking about the Chow pick as well. Something that they said that they haven't practiced too much in scrims, but they wanted to practice it in the game, being prepared and ready for that final. But I don't think we'll be seeing it again, Blam. As they mentioned, you know, it didn't really work out in that game number 2, and it nearly cost them the whole series.
If we do see it again, I think it may have just been like we've picked this pick and it didn't quite work well for us, sort of like a sarcastic pick, but it actually will be one of their biggest pickups, I reckon, maybe in that grand final. But like they said, they didn't lose because they still think they're the strongest team, even though Major Pride gave them a hell of a third game. It was very close, like you always said. But yeah, new hero. I think that is a little bit of a tactical ruse on the side of the Vicious, because again, they're going to be scrimming. They're going to probably go scrim with that hero with in mind of how to be better with it as well. But yes, that is our first grand finalist in the EMEA Split 1 finals. And to be fair, it's already shaping up like it's going to be the same finals as it was for the Wildcard qualifier. So I've seen this before. I'm happy to see it again.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen really in the second best of 3, the second semi-final that we're going to have today. But I think, you know, the Vicious in the end, they want to face against AGHK. They want that revenge because, as you mentioned, in that wildcard final that you were casting as well, AGHK kind of destroyed and dominated the Vicious. They only really took one game off of them, and it looked really clean in the end from AGHK. So now is a question of who's going to be that other finalist. Is it going to be AGHK? Is S2G going to come out as well? We'll have to wait and see, as we now are going to go over to a break. I know I've got it right this time, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, our second semi-final of the day, S2G Esports versus AGHK. We'll see you in a few minutes.
The outer city of Navania used to be crawling with pirates.
Quick!
Fortunately, a legendary hero appeared, Captain RUKH. For years he was undefeated and maintained peace in the outer city.
Captain!
And I'm the guy pretending to be him. I even invented some gadgets of my own.
Don't move! Or the girl gets it.
Cover your ears.
Huh? Should I cover mine too?
What was that?
They're coming! My baby! Thank you, Captain. Huh?
Thanks, Captain.
Captain RUKH always saves the day.
You're a legend.
Incredible!
You. You're the best, Captain.
Saved him.
Captain RUKH, you should rest more. You've lost weight.
You're still not good enough, Alessio. The real Captain RUKH was so courageous, powerful, and brave.
Help me!
I'm not good enough. Not good enough. Come on, Alessio. You have to protect everyone.
Stop right there!
Don't worry, RUKH is here. It's Captain RUKH.
Captain RUKH!
He's here to save us! Captain RUKH is here!
RUKH's dead! Come.
Oh no! Captain, is he okay? Captain RUKH!
Captain, get up!
What's he gonna do?
Get up!
Get up.
What? Is that really
Captain RUKH is just a kid.
He's not.
Where's the captain? Was this kid protecting us all this time?
You're pretending to be RUKH? What a joke.
Well, it's not a joke!
A fake is a fake! Find that fake.
Yes, boss!
Let the outer city know their captain is gone for good.
Captain? Captain! Captain Red HoK!
It's up to you now. From now on, you're Red HoK.
Me? Captain Red HoK? But I can't.
He's not a real captain.
It's just the
Where's
boy.
the real Captain Red HoK?
We do.
Fake!
He can't even protect himself.
No matter how hard I try, it's not good enough.
He's awake.
He's okay.
We must hide him. Hurry! Over there! Hurry!
Careful.
Go look over there!
Let's go!
Over here, Captain Red HoK.
Get him to safety.
Right. Follow me, Captain.
Where'd you hide him? Spit it out! Get back here!
It's me you're after. Let him go!
Captain, come on.
I'll take it from here.
Thank you.
Captain, this way. Quickly, this way.
The captain's here!
Captain Red HoK.
Captain.
Captain, my man will take you to the outer sea. You'll be safe there.
I'm not Captain Red HoK.
You're wrong. You are Red HoK.
Open the door! You can't escape! Who do you think you are, kid? Hey! A Red HoK mask? You want to be a hero, kid?
Captain Red HoK.
Not bad, little HoK.
I'm not Red HoK.
When you stand up, you will be.
Keep up the bombardment until they hand over the fake. If it isn't the fake, you finally dared to stand up.
Couldn't help it. I'm not gonna quit, as you'll see!
like you? You want to be special, but you're too weak.
This is no tragedy. This is my choice!
Not bad, little HoK.
I'm not Red Hawk.
When you stand up, you will be.
Eastern Region's Chamber of Commerce sale. Come take a look.
This one. Or this one. Ow!
What a dumbass.
A fluorescent stone!
You're no good at this.
I've been noticed! Time to fight!
Hey! What are you doing? Hey!
It's just you and me! You give that back!
That's a pair for me.
Again? Your turn.
Come back and fight!
It's the kid who stole the ship!
Get him!
He's over there!
So you're gonna run?
So you're not with them? Ladies first! Hey, wait up!
Where's that bomb I got from Mr. RUKH? Got it! Hey, G-Shot, firecracker!
A bomb!
Get them!
Leave him to me!
Get her too!
What a pain! Hide the evidence!
Face to face, got the comments. My senses can feel the suspense. Don't be tense, get off the fence. Strike them down with my fight sequence. Let me just take a back out of all of their tricks. They might put me to the test, but I got finesse. And I feel the opposition, but it won't be for long. Let the story be written, we will riddle the wrongs. How did it get me so feeling better like this? My fate is hanging in the balance of the wind. Trouble's always knocking at my door like a songwriter. And that was stronger.
closer. Nice. Looks like the safest place turns out to be right under your enemy's nose.
Nope, I just got tired of running. The coast is clear now. Let's go. Huh? It's locked.
Ah!
Hello everyone, welcome back to day number 3 here of the Honor of Kings Open Series EMEA Finals. After a thrilling first semi-final, we are getting ready and prepared for what is proven to be and what should be an exciting second semi-final. Blam, S2G Esports versus AGHK. This is the kind of battle that we were hoping for and a battle that we are both excited for.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the only way to stop both of these wildcard qualifying teams going into the grand finals, and it's all down to, I don't want to whisper it in their ears, but the Turkish team S2G are the only ones to stop this happening, but I don't know how well they can do it. But from their performance over the past 2 days, sorry, when they went against RUKH Esports, they managed to conquer and divide that team. So I've got a lot of hope for them. As you can see here, both of these semi-finalists have gone 2-0 with their respective teams. Again, was S2G really tested with RUKH, and the same for AGHK against MENA? Were they really tested, or was it just an unfortunate draw for their soon fallen opponents?
Yeah, I feel like this S2G versus AGHK is going to be a lot closer than the quarterfinals we saw yesterday, with S2G taking down RUKH and AGHK taking down Axe. And that was the updated bracket. We've already sent one semi-finalist to the final, which is the Vicious, but who is going to be that second semi-final? First up, let's talk about S2G Esports. They're going to have to come up with something special, I feel like, Blam, in this semi-final, because the way that AGHK played, but at the same time, S2G also did an incredible job against RUKH Esports, especially around them objectives, which is something that we highlighted for them in that quarterfinal.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be an issue of making sure the leadership thing, like Iraqi Zaro was alluding to yesterday, isn't going to be an issue. Obviously, we saw that it was underlined in that game, but with the pressure being intensified against AGHK, I can imagine we're going to start to see a potential of a burst of like a few personalities on their teams. As we know, some of the players, they are very much personality-wise, very big personalities. But over to the side of S2G Esports, this is the roster. We have Sora 6 in the Clash lane, Kostra in the jungle, Rekna in the mid lane, Closer in the farm lane, and then their team captain, which is Iraqi Zaro in the support role there, which we heard from yesterday.
Yeah, an exciting team that we have to see what they've got planned coming up against AGHK. wanted to highlight RUKH as well, a player that loves his aggressive play style. And we kind of even saw that on the control mage yesterday. I still remember him playing the Ganon Mo in the mid lane and flashing forward, playing super aggressive on that Ganon Mo. I'm not too sure if he can do the same this time around against AGHK, but I'm really excited to see what he's going to pick up in the mid lane against Devil, which is going to be an exciting matchup for me.
Yeah, if it's anything to go off what we saw yesterday, obviously Devil was very much focused with the Princess Frost pickup. So again, a control mage, but here we do have the roster for AGHK. It is Snow in the Clash lane, Myosotis in the jungle, Devil in the mid lane, Zaze in the farm, and then Xinlin in the support role. And obviously yesterday we saw Devil speak about the team themselves, and they were very confident they had a great team. They've only really argued very recently, but again, he saw that as a very positive thing because it's an easy way to air out any issues you have on your team.
We have to remind everyone watching at home as well, if they don't know, but this AGHK roster has been there and done it all really with Honor of Kings. They've been to international events. They did really well at the Asian Games as well a few years ago. And this is a team with a whole bucket full of experience, being able to play at an international stage already at the World Championship for Honor of Kings. They're on a different team entirely, but still is pretty much the same roster from that same international event. And it goes to show as well, because their quarterfinals, they run over MENA with a 8-minute finish in their second game, the quickest game so far in the Open Series finals.
Yeah, I mean, run over was probably a very friendly way to put it. They more so likely run over them, reversed, did a bit of a 360 spin around them, then just went back over them again just to make sure that it was all done and dusted. But yeah, like you said, AGHK played a phenomenal game against MENA. But like I was saying in the introduction, I don't feel like either of these teams have been tested yet to their limits, but I feel like S2G is going to get tested by AGHK today, as they obviously have AGHK have been tested by the Vicious and lost a round already. So it's already quite telling that they've already felt defeat in one round, but that's going to be enough to drive them away from defeat or even dropping a round in this last semi-final today for you guys.
So let's kind of turn our attention to draft as we're waiting for the draft to start things off. Interesting things to note with this draft, both Clash laners, both Sora and Snow, have both picked Byron and Elian in their quarterfinal matchups. I feel like them two picks are going to be very highly contested, with a few pocket picks for both both of these teams as well, especially in the jungle.
Yeah, you kind of see no other resemblance across the lanes other than that Clash lane. But again, the Clash lane meta pool is very, very small. And you can kind of already see it from the fact that they both picked Byron, both picked a lane. The only other two picks you can kind of even go for is a Charlotte and Mayeen. If you're feeling a little bit zesty, you could go for the Lubu if either of these teams pick up the Dolia, which they both have going into the quarterfinals match. But then the farm lane both have different stories. So Dorenji both the times on closer, and then farm lane for Zaze, we saw that Hu Yi come through, so that ult from downtown, which was just phenomenal. We saw some really good play set up on the side of AGHK against MENA in that first game, and then Lady Sun, that late game queen that she is in the farm lane. But I think the different opposite side of the spectrum here is RUKH against Devil. Devil like going for the control mages, and then RUKH, as you said, Stu, we know he's an aggressive player, likes going for the Ganmo, likes going for the Mai. We could potentially see that Dio-chan come through for him as well, because that was one of his favorite picks in Season 1 Invitational.
We'll have to wait and find out to see what the picks are going to be and what the bans are going to be as well. Like I said, I think definitely a heavy contention here on the Clash lane as well. Be interesting to see what junglers they both pick as well as we get ourselves into the draft. We was talking about that Elian in the Clash lane. AGHK are going to ban that away, as well as RUKH's Mai as well. They first pick interesting enough, Dharma, which is the first time we've seen Dharma being first picked. But look at that combination on S2G. We saw how strong it was from the Vicious in the first semi-final of today. That Dolia and the Yuan being picked up for S2G Esports.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a little, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to a trap here, Stu. It seems a little bit easy for those two picks to go over to S2G. I mean, they have the Byron ban, they have the Lam ban, but seeing that they was able to pick up the Dolia and the Hu Huan as well as the Ganmo, so Rekna getting one of his favorite picks in that mid lane from the quarterfinals does come through. However, AGHK gets that Princess Frost, which we know Devil loves, tried and tested as well, but Xinlin gets the Zhang Fei. So again, we didn't see him on the Zhang Fei yesterday, we only saw him on Sunbin and Dolia, but he gets Zhang Fei, who we know is one of the most sought for picks in that support lane just because of all the utility this hero gives.
Yeah, so again, very interesting to see what direction the AGHK looking for in this composition with that Dharma being first picked around, with also then banning out a Clash Lane. It looks like they're just going to carry on with the Clash Lane bans for now as well, with the Mayeen being banned. I'm curious to see, Byron's already actually banned for S2G. So this Clash Lane at the moment is going to be a little bit of a struggle for Sora because there's a lot of Clash Laners already being banned away. But as you mentioned, the Ganamo, a comfort pick, going to be really interesting to see that control mage versus control mage mid lane. The big thing that I want to maybe see happen for AGHK here is them to pick up that Huyi again. We saw how strong that combo was yesterday. The Huyi, the ultimates from downtown into the crowd control from Princess Frost. You also have the crowd control from Tama and also Zhang Fei, but they actually ban it away themselves. Really interesting enough. Maybe worried that S2G were going to take it on that first pick of red sides.
I mean, it's probably a good thing that they did ban it off because they do have the Dolia on their side as well. So pairing two Hui ultimates or even pairing the Hu Huan as well. So I think maybe the Hui was probably just to ban it out for themselves there because, again, we've already got a fantastic pairing with that Dolia, which we've seen tried and tested before, Stu, with the Hu Huan also coming through on the side of S2G. But yeah, trying to fill out that farm lane. They do manage to pick up the Derenji, which is normally one of their picks, so Closer generally picks up that pick anyway. So again, another comfort pick and a two. Obviously, we saw Iraqi Zolo play the Dolia yesterday. So the only, and we even saw the Hu Huan. So we've seen this team comp so far. It's a little bit of a mishmash of game 1 and game 2 from yesterday by S2G. However, that Clash lane is going to have to change. Is it going to be the Mulan? Is it going to? It's definitely not going to be a Mayeen. So again, with the fact that they've picked up a Hu Huan, it should be a tankier hero in that Clash lane, because if they want some sustain, if they want some front line, they're going to need it now. But looking over to the side of AGHK, they've gone for the Lady Sun, and then they've gone for the Athena in the jungle. And just a little keynote to this one, Stu, just in case you think the Athena is feeding. The way that these teams use this Athena is purely as a right to, like, information, because she doesn't just disappear when she dies. She has like a ghost form, so she can go around. When she comes back and she knocks up the enemy team as well. So you'll see a little bit of a different. This is definitely a pocket pick. It comes through very, very, very slim, but we did see AGHK pick it up. I believe it was in the wildcard qualifiers, but it was as support. So again, used a little bit better as the support. As a jungle, we saw HoK Chaos pick it in their semi-final match, and it did not do great for them, as they did try it in the KIC as well, and again did not do great for them. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that jungle Athena pick is going to work for AGHK.
I feel like I've seen the pick before, if I'm not mistaken, from the Invitational Season 1 as well. Just a really difficult hero to kind of deal with in general. But as you mentioned, though, S2G going for a composition that they are very comfortable with. They've got a bunch of the picks that they were playing yesterday, a bunch of the picks that they've been preparing for this entire tournament. And maybe that's what they want to go for in game number 1 is comfort. But this is where heroes are born, and this is where AGHK AGHK and S2G are going to step onto the gorge for game number 1 here of this semi-final. This is going to be an absolute banger.
Yes, it's going to be nothing but a banger, to be honest. We see that Xinling is already taking a lot of damage from the Ganmo as well. So again, that support rotation to the mid lane, as we've seen, being very vital for the majority of this tournament thus far. Again, taking a few more blows from those long-range couple blades, but we've seen the Athena giving way to the Dolia. There's been a knockback. CC Immune just manages to get out the grasp of Myosotis. There is Arakizoro, but looking very shaky, unfortunately, for the side of S2G.
Yeah, it looks like the invade was trying to come in there. I think it did come in the end there for Myostis at level 1, invading towards that red buff, actually taking away the red buff. And Arakizoro just didn't see it coming. He was rotating up towards the top side of the map, but got completely caught out there by Myosotis, being able to, you know, lose the lose the heal, sorry, and also just has to go back to base, which means that the pressure is going to be on the side here at the moment of AGHK. Now they're going to look to try and make a play themselves in the clash lane, but nothing too crazy. But Arakizoro gets caught again. That's 2 times already this game he's been caught out, and that's first blood going to AGHK.
Yeah, when you're playing as a Dolly, you definitely don't want to be the means of that first blood, because again, this hero is very squishy and you can punish her just as much as you want to. You can control how much you punish this mermaid, and it's looking like AGHK are going to be punishing her well, as we saw that Princess Frost used the Winter's come in to claim the kill onto the Dolia. But again, this Athena pick definitely not being used as much as an int strategy as it was on the side of FUT Chaos in both the Season 1 and the KIC wildcard qualifiers as well. So Arakizoro being a little bit too deep. Again, he's trying to bait them towards the Durenji, but missing out that, I mean, body block for Durenji onto Lady Sun's ability there. So literally closer being the way forward for Arakizoro to not fall in that little engage in the farm lane, but Arekna coming through with that massive damage from those couple blades on the Ganmo, keeping Athena away, but it's not keeping Devil away. He still wants some of that poke damage onto Arekna right now.
Yeah, Arakizoro needs to be really careful this game. It looks like he's playing super aggressive, as this still actually comes through in the end on the blue buff. Myostis being able to smite it over the wall. And Sora, you are on the wrong side of the map, buddy. He's going to try and get a trade kill back, but I don't think he is. He's going to go down in the end.
He gives it a fair try.
Tried to get a trade kill back, but isn't going to in the end. And the invade doesn't go in the way of S2G. And it looks like the momentum is on the side of AGHK at the moment, as it looks like Lady Sun is also being able to farm for free in this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and if there's anything that you don't want this Lady Sun to do is to farm up, because the quicker she's activated, the quicker your enemy team will be punished. And it's kind of the same kind of thing for Durenji as well, because Durenji, as we know, as soon as he gets that kind of the chain lightning from one of the items for his very much particular build, he starts to do a lot more damage, closing kills that should generally be getting away with just a smidge of life. But Xinling being able to keep off S2G from that tyrant, and there comes through the unbridled rage from Xinling for AGHK, but we see Sora come through as well. Knock up onto Sora. Sora is already pretty low. She tries to keep him in that battle, but is another fall down for Sora once again. But a trade over for Closer, being able to pick up the Zhongfei, so it is a kill. And Rekna trying his best with a couple blades, followed up there, but just not claiming anything on the side of AGHK, unfortunately.
From Xinling there, huge stun up against the wall with that Zhongfei, doing an incredible job, as we're going to see the replay here. They did really well to zone away them, but look at this ultimate here. Boom! Straight into Arakizoro. And, you know, Kostra tried to escape as well with that ultimate that they tried. I mean, Closer looked completely untouched on the sidelines, was able to take a trade kill back, but that's about all he could get in the end. The Tyrant did go in the way of AGHK, and they do getting a bit of an advantage this game as well. Like you said, Rekler trying to flash over the wall, something that I was mentioning in the draft that he loves to do with Ganamo. He loves to play aggressive to try and take these kills, but unfortunately, nothing really going in the way of S2G so far, as we have about a 1,500 goal lead at the moment for AGHK.
Yeah, you can already see on the side of AGHK that the anti-heal is already being prioritized by the Athena, with the Burning Cape being built as well, because we know that Athena is going to be pretty much the second rock into these engages other than the Zhang Fei. Because, again, two quite tanky heroes going into this team comp are able to the Princess Frost and the Lady Sun to pick up some kills, but Myosotis gets knocked back. We're seeing the Athena get taken down for the first time. Myosotis now able to give some vision over to his team. Lady Sun takes down Sora once again, so Zayz is activated with another kill pickup for Lady Sun, as Dharma is trying to just nullify and equalize that mid lane minion wave there.
Does it still count as a kill, even though Myosotis is just going around as like a ghost sort of thing? Okay, interesting. A very unique hero, definitely. Like you said, you know, even if the Myosotis does die and does dive in a little bit too deep, using that extra bit of, you know, extra bit of potential that you have from the ghost to give vision over to his team can definitely come in handy. And like you said, when the ultimate does expire and that she can come back, she can stun the whole team as well. Not doing anything too much just there. I believe it was a 1-for-1 trade in total for S2G and AGHK. So we have a bit of a moment here to kind of sit back and kind of take an outer look on this game. 6 kills to 2 at the moment. First Tyrant did go over to AGHK. No one is going towards the Overlord just yet. And there's no towers that have gone down yet either. So both these teams are doing really well at defending their towers in the early game so far.
Yeah, in terms of punished towers, we see that the farm lane's been punished on the side of AGHK.
Nice
but speaking of being punished, Closer did try and flash out of there. Shinlin is a little bit too deep and was able to be picked off by Closer. So AGHK making a little bit of a huge misstep there. But I did want to pay attention as we had that moment to breathe that we have a little bit more anti-heal coming through on the side of AGHK now. We see that Princess Frost is picking up that venomous staff. So when the winter is coming, it drops the heals from Dolia, the heals from the Yuhuan as well is not going to be as fatal as they should be, or useful as they should be, shall I say. But first tier turret does get taken up by S2G, so they take the farm lane turret away from AGHK.
Yeah, really well played by Closer. The cleanse was perfect from the second ability, and then a flash away from Zhangfei's ultimate was super, super clean. I mean, Zhangfei was trying to dive a little bit too deep there to take the kill, but so smart there from Closer to cleanse and also flash away to safety. As you said, securing that first tower. Sora's going to try and defend this top lane tier 1 tower, but it's going to get frozen up. You're trying to clear the minion wave. I know how that feels. You're clearing the minion wave. You're like, yes, I can defend the tower. But unfortunately, he trades his life for it as well. And Lady Sun can just get more and more farm now in this top lane. They're not going to get any towers for it. And the Tyrant does go over to S2G. So overall, just equal trades at the moment happening back and forth here, and the gold lead is basically non-existent at the moment.
Yeah, it's very much flittering between both of these teams. It's currently looking like a pendulum right now, but the winter is coming, goes onto Yuhuan, and it's able to take a lot of damage and negate a lot of that sustain from that hero as well because of that venomous staff coming through on the Princess Frost. But I think AGHK just need to stop overextending. We've seen Shinlin actually play too aggressive, and no one's been able to sort of catch up to him under these turrets as well. So not right now can the Lady Sun afford to drop a health or afford to take any sort of deaths right now, because if she does, then that's when the farm gets halted for AGHK, and being that the late game hero that she is, we kind of need to see her keep farming up, keep getting gold, and keep putting them resources into Zayz.
Exactly what they're trying to do as well, as both teams have a lot of members in the mid lane right now. Both of them just trying to play around this next Tyrant that is going to be spawning in a 4 seconds time. This is going to be it This is going to be the team fight that makes or breaks this first game of this series. The Tyrant does get pulled out, but nothing too crazy happens just yet. But look at the flank from Snow at the moment. Look at the flank from Xiangfei. Nothing's going to come of it just yet as RUKH looking to try and poke in the backline. The team fight is completely split up at the moment. And Xiangfei, the ultimate into the wall again, and the double kill for Snow. Beautiful play again. The engage coming in from Xiangfei, just catching S2G off guard. Does look like the ultimate, the passive should say comes in there for Myostis. Just going to be able to get a little bit of vision here, trying to see if they can pick off a few more members. Nothing's just going to happen just yet. You can see they're toying with them at the moment. It's like, yeah, you can't go back to base. We're going to completely catch you off guard. Close actually flashing in. Couldn't get a kill in the end. Dame takes another kill as well. They might even try and take another one here onto Sora. They do. And the passive for Myostis, the extra vision in the end as well. Gonna look to go even further forward. Comes back alive. The stun comes through. The dash comes through into the backline as well. And that might just be it. I thought it was going to be one more team fight that might have changed this entire game in terms of momentum. But what it does, it secures AGHK the first game in this series.
What a amazing team fight that was, because honestly I saw that Zaze had Ultimate Shell loaded on the Lady Sun but still didn't decide to use it. We saw that he decided to rotate to the turret because it was either take the kill or get a massive momentum in that mid lane and let the rest of his team take that fight down in the farm lane, and that's what they did. And that's the potential of making that split decision. Do I get a kill? Do I be greedy, get the kill, get a bit of extra gold, or do I just focus that minion wave in the mid lane and just push it all the way to the crystal? And that's the choice that they made, and it was the right choice because they closed out that match that didn't look like it was ready to finish as well. So fair play to AGHK taking game 1 from S2G.
Yeah, you just know sometimes in Honor of Kings, when it gets to a certain point during the game, when it really gets past that 10-minute mark, anything can happen. You know, one team fight can just turn the entire game. And as we were saying, you know, that game was so back and forth to start things off. But one team fight for AGHK, that's all it took in the end. That huge ultimate from Xingling on the Xiangfei round that Tyrant pit up against the wall, and then the Dharma to follow up as well with the kick as well, getting that double kill onto S2G, and then Myostis on this jungle pick being able to create vision. And then everyone was like, okay, we are trapping S2G. They are not allowed to go back to the base. They got a few more kills in the mid lane as well, and they were able to end the game just like that in an instant. That's all it took, Blam. One team fight for AGHK, and they just end the first game just like that. It's just incredible to watch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure S2G was sat there, it was waiting for the death respawn to go off cooldown and be like, right, okay, we'll get him in the next one, and then realize, oh no, there's the second tier turret in the mid lane. Oh no, there's the higher ground turret in the mid lane. Oh no, triple kill over to Dharma. Oh no, there goes our crystal. And it seems like the same old Sungan dads once again from another wildcard team showboating their clash lane, because we saw exactly the same thing in the last series, that the clash lane on the side of the Vicious is getting all those kills in game 1 on the Mayeen, and we see again this time around on AGHK for Snow doing only 19.1% damage. We see that Athena does way more damage. We see that Zaze does way more damage, but Dharma was just picking up these kills, especially that triple kill towards the end, just with a absolute ease and really negating that Hugh Huan pickup. It's not the special pick that we always think it is. There is a counter, and it seems like AGHK has her number.
And this is the first pick that AGHK brought into this series as well. Something that was surprising to me anyway, because normally these first picks have been around the Dolia, have been around these other picks as well. But AGHK wanted to prioritize this Dharma pick, you know, being able to try and do their best at trying to lock down S2G. And you can see the lockdown in the end. The combo from the Dharma, the Xiangfei, and also the Princess Frost in the backline as well. It was just too much to deal with when it got into that mid-game fight. We didn't really get to the late game at this stage of the game, to be fair. It was like 10 minutes, one fight, and the game was over. But huge pop to Xingling in this game. This Xiangfei pick, 2 ultimates were really the difference in this game. This first replay that you're seeing now, the double ultimate that you got up against the wall, and also the other ultimate as well in that last team fight, really being the difference in this first game of the series.
Again, if it's not the dashes, it's the knockups, and really this time AJHK definitely had the copious amounts of knockups. They had Zhongfei, they had Dharma with the pushback knocking into the wall, and they also had the knockup from Athena when she comes crashing back down from that death. But like you said, Dharma, double kill onto the Dolia, onto the Huan. Back to what I was saying back in Game 1 draft, was that a charitable giveaway by AJHK to be like, hey, take it, don't worry about it, we've got this? And they just showed with this game-ending play that they do have this. It's that Dharma pickup that is just crucial for the side of AJHK when we haven't seen their Clash Lane Snow play that hero yet.
Now, we haven't seen the priority in the draft as well, but the MVP is going to go over to Zays in the end on that Lady Sun. Wasn't the craziest game from Zays, but just farming up, just being able to get enough damage in the later stages of the game as well. It wasn't really put under any threat in that game as well, because there wasn't, you know, any crazy engage coming out from S2G. You know, it's really hard for them to kind of start a fight with this composition. You know, we were talking about how strong this Dolia pick could be linked up, with the Huyan, but they didn't really have any sort of engage. They had the Charlotte trying to jump in, but when you got the long range of the Renji, you got long range from Gangmo, and then you even got a ranged champion like the Huyan and also the Dolia as well. It's very difficult to kind of get things going, especially when Zhongfei is right up your nose and just able to push you up against the wall, and then there's just nothing you can do about it.
Literally, I feel like the overstepping from Xinling may have been something that was tactical from the side of AJHK, because you saw for the rest of the game that was their main priority. But before we get into Game 2, we are going to have a short break, so don't go anywhere, guys, because this could be the last game to determine our last grand finalist, so don't go anywhere.
welcome back to what could be our last game of today. Welcome to the Open Series, Honor of Kings, EMEA Finals. My name is Stuart, and to my right is Mr. Blam himself. And after a very back and forth first game in this series, S2G Esports versus AGHK, one team fight is all it took for AGHK this time around to be able to win. Wasn't as dominating as the series we saw from AGHK before, but they find the ways, they find the advantages, they find their right moment to strike S2G Esports. And that's all that they took. One team fight, and they were able to end the game just from that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the consequence of having such a late game hero like the Lady Sun in the farm lane, is that she has to get that gold up before she can really start to do any kind of damage or any sort of like influence on the Gorge. But we saw it towards the end there that the mid lane turret, it was between the mid lane turret or trying to take out one of the heroes in the farm lane that was hiding in the bush with her ultimate shell because it was off cooldown, but instead decided to make that play ending call, which was push the mid lane all the way to the crystal and take game one straight away from S2G. S2G looking a little bit formulating here, trying to think of what they can do, trying to get into the zone to see if they can take a round from AGHK, whereas AGHK are just like, we're waiting for draft, we're ready to go, it's all good. Whereas you can see that they're actually calm, collective, speaking about what the side of S2G could do going into this game too.
They were probably happy about their draft overall. I don't think they would have been upset with their draft. I think they would have been happy with what they got. They got picks that they're comfortable with. They got picks that they thought would be really, really strong. But AGHK are just a different beast. Even if you feel like you have a strong draft, even if you feel like you got the advantage in the draft, you know, you have to bring out something different for AGHK. And now S2G are backs against the wall at the moment. All it takes now is one more game and they'll be knocked out in the semi-finals. And for AGHK, in this next game, they could book their tickets to the grand finals tomorrow with a rematch against the Vicious from the Wildcard as well, which I'm sure will be an exciting game to watch as well.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, it was a strong pick from S2G. It was just kind of, unfortunately, when it comes to team fights, they didn't really have strong front lines because they had the Huan that was hoping to be that front line like it was for the Vicious. But unfortunately, AGHK have the knowledge of going for anti-heal, rushing the anti-heal, which really would have stopped Huan's capability, Dolia's influence in these team fights, but also Charlotte as well. So for both Athena and Princess Frost, and we know that Princess Frost has that Winter is Coming, which is a huge AoE ultimate, is just going to be sort of like doing little bits of anti-heal. But AGHK do lock in that Dolia Thirst pick. It's going to be really interesting to see who they pair this up with, because yesterday they paired it up with the team comp of Lady Sun, Princess Frost, Menki, and Byron. But Byron has now been banned over to the side of S2G along with Lamb.
Ooh. Very interesting. Hino being picked here for S2G. We've seen it being played in the mid lane. We also got it in the jungle as well. I'm not too sure if we're going to see it in the jungle this time, but we saw it in the jungle for Major Pride. And this time they're getting a priority pick for their clash laner for Sora this time with the Elaine. Maybe you're going to feel a bit more comfortable in that clash lane. Had a pretty good game on the Charlotte, but it is going to be going up against Mayeen and the Princess Frost again. Devil has had 4 games in this EMEA finals, and 4 games he has got his hands on Princess Frost, and he has been having an incredible tournament on this hero so far.
Yeah, back to back Princess Frost games coming through. But hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If your favorite season is winter, play it. But they do ban out obviously the Mai and the Huan, so again they're really aiming that pick at Rekna, but also the Huan at the jungle pick as well. Whereas this Hino pick is definitely a good go-to pick for S2G, because like you said, Stu, it's a flex pick. We've seen it in the jungle, we've seen it in the mid lane. I honestly really hope we get to see Rekna on this pick, because I feel like the kit that this hero holds would be definitely a Rekna signature pick if if he manages to master it, because it seems like this is going to be a pocket pick for them because their backs are against the wall. They're going to need something like that Zhang Fei, like we saw Iraqi Zoro on game 1 against RUKH Esports, and it was definitely a better performance from Iraqi Zoro on a hero like that.
Yeah, he feels definitely more comfortable on these more tankier supports rather than playing. You know, we saw him getting caught out a few times in that previous game on the Dolia. Maybe what he maybe is, you know, he's a player that kind of wants to play aggressive. He wants to try and make plays. He wants to try and, you know, go in and get vision for his team. Dolia, you can't really do that. Zhang Fei, however, you can definitely do that. It's a completely different hero. It's more tank for the team as well, which I think is absolutely great. As we see, interesting. AGHK actually banning away mid laners, maybe thinking that this Hino might be a jungle pick because they're trying to ban other heroes away from Rek'Na.
Yeah, it seems like they think that the way that their team comp is formulating, that Hino is looking more as a tanky jungle pick because they have the Zhang Fei. Elaine, as we know, has that Death on Sunset, so be able to just disappear. So they're taking no chances with Rek'Na's picks here, so the Angela and the Ganamo do face the ban hammer. However, the Kaiser, Lamb, and Jing do fall through onto the side of S2G with the bans. So AGHK, we could be looking at that Menki pickup again because they do need a little bit more of a solid front line, or they could go for something completely different here that we haven't seen before. We'll yet to see, but Ali is still being able to be picked up here. Derenji is still available as well in terms of the farm lane on the side of AGHK, whether they decide to go for it or maybe pair the Dolly with the Huangjong with the double barrel ultimates. We are yet to see, but Princess Frost paired with the Dolly already is a fantastic combo. We've saw this before. It's tried and tested. It's what got AGHK their very fast pick in very fast win, against Axe MENA, but it looks like they're going to go for the Hu Yi. So Dolia is always seeming to be paired with Hu Yi this time around, and they go for Prince of Lanling. So yet to be played in the EMEA finals, split 1 is the Prince of Lanling. So a very assassin based hero. So AGHK going for some deadly strikes, but they did, however, predict that the Hino was going to go for. They've kind of slowly tried to get rid of Rek'Na's lineup there because they forced that Hino into the mid lane there, and they do pick up the Nakaruru on the side of S2G Esports, and we know they love that pick.
It's going to be really interesting to figure out what's going to happen in this series. Both teams have got some unique picks. That Nakaruru we saw yesterday on S2G Esports. We saw how strong that pick can be. This is the first time that Closer has not picked the Renji as well, going for the Ali instead. This time around, wanted more of that mobility, more of that safety from the pick from Ali. But I'm really worried for S2G about this combo in the mid and the farm lane as we get into game number 2 here between AGHK and S2G Esports. One more game for AGHK to be able to book their tickets to that grand final and get the rematch versus Vicious.
Yeah, so we've already gained a first blood already from AGHK. Snow is already being propped up like game 1, getting all the kills over to Snow once again. That showboating, same song and dance from AGHK, securing that first blood. But S2G is able to get an equal trade there for themselves, and Rek'Na putting some pressure on the Dolia and the Princess Frost, who rotated to get a bit more gold for themselves in that Clash Lane jungle part. But I'm really interested to see how Myosotis plays this Prince of Lanling, because again, if you use is a skill where he goes invisible, it zooms out the map, so it's a little bit more vision for you as well. So we could be seeing that same kind of thing for the Athena function, where it's all about giving intel to your teammates.
After that Clash Lane battle, nothing else too crazy has happened just yet in this game. You've seen the Iraqi Zoro doing a lot with trying to rotate around the map. The Xingling as well, also trying to rotate as well. Both these roaming supports trying to make a difference around the map at the moment. But as I was mentioning, I'm really worried about this combo with the Hu Yi and the Princess Frost, because this is a duo that we saw and a combo that we saw from AGHK yesterday, and it was something that Axe MENA just didn't know how to deal with. So we'll have to keep an eye out on the mini-map, and we have to keep an eye on HoYi throughout this game to see where them ultimates are going to land. As look at that, one's already going into the mid lane. It is going to miss RUKH this time around, but you have to be wary of this S2G every single time this ultimate is up and available, which, by the way, doesn't have a very long cooldown as well, these ultimates in Honor of Kings. So you have to be very wary when you're looking at trying to, you know, step forward and trying to play aggressive.
Yeah, playing the devil's advocate there, I feel like that arrow was more of a Vision Express than a land lethal ult, because we saw it cross the brush where we think that Nakaruru could have been sitting as they pushed that mid lane. So I think we were seeing from Zays that that was going to be a little bit more of a vision giver than a lethal landing blow to RUKH in the mid lane, because he did have Dolia down there as well to give him a second ultimate just in case he needed it, but he didn't really need it at that point because he's not really been pushed here too much or having too much pressure from the early as of yet. But we're seeing a little bit of the clumping around that mid lane. We see RUKH with Irakizaro, Devil, Shinlin, and Myosotis already all here preparing for something great. Their winter comes through onto Irakizaro, but does a lot of damage, which is probably going to force him back to base as he now recalls to gain that health back. So already using those ultimates just to put some pressure onto S2G for pushing their lanes.
Yeah, you're already seeing the combo. Unfortunately, it was only on the tank there of Irakizaro, but you saw the combo of the HoYi and also the Princess Frost, the chain CC on top of each other, making it extremely difficult for anyone really, for S2G to try and escape. Once again, a pretty even early game. Nothing too crazy has happened in this game. Myosotis trying to get a little bit of pressure here in this clash lane, and he is on the opposite side of the map to the Tyrant, so it does seem like AGHK are going to give up this Tyrant. As I say that, they're trying to rush down here as quick as possible, but there's already a fight happening down here. Closer trying to dash forward on this Arlene, not getting enough damage in the end, but the counter engage from the HoYi, the ultimate comes in, and the cleanup is about to happen here for AGHK. It looks like S2G were able to get the fight that they wanted, but in the end, it was HoYi with that counter engage with the ultimate that we were talking about, and that is going to able to secure them the kills. They do lose a Tyrant, but they do pick up 3 kills in response.
Yeah, we saw the beautiful effort there to try and get closer to be stunned, and then we saw that Princess Frost was trying to claim that jungle objective from S2G, but then again it lands in the brush straight back onto Closer once more, so also just being able to just devastate that counter engage from AGHK. As we can see live right now, there's a bit of a barrage going and assault on the farm lane turret here, which could potentially go down because Close is having a trouble time trying to clear that wave. And then we see that Kostra goes down in the mid lane as well. So not only RUKH, but Kostra goes down, and that mid lane is looking pretty low, and the minion's going to land that. Oh no! The turret defends itself, but it is very, very low for the side of S2G in that mid lane.
Looks like it's starting to slowly get away from S2G Esports now. Looks like AGHK are finding their own in this game. They're doing extremely well, as it looks like Sora's going to get completely caught out here as well. Use the ultimate to try and escape. He's trying to escape with the extra shielding as well, but the CC comes in from Snow. The killing spree in the end for Myosotis as well coming through. They're trying to try and find a trade kill, but they're not going to. RUKH getting caught in the mid lane as well. This is looking all but too easy now for AGHK. Again, S2G doing really well when it comes to the early game and the rotations, but when it comes to these fights, when it comes to these objectives, AGHK are better than any other team in this tournament.
Yeah, they come through from different angles, as we see Myosotis here just running through them, trying to keep them paranoid with that little icon splashing on their head, thinking, where's he going to attack us from? I'm not too sure what's going on, but there's the Zhongfei with the crowd control, manages to take out Ollie in the back line. Down goes one of their huge damage outputs, and then HoYi picks up the lane kill as well, so down goes Sora once more for HoYi. So Zays being plays this HoYi beautifully on the side of AGHK when it's paired with this Dolia as well, but Myosotis just playing the paranoia game to STG, hoping that they're going to get an early gank from the Prince of Landling, but he doesn't give them it. He doesn't give them the benefits of the doubt for going in with that early engage. He just keeps them guessing where he's going to strike, and unfortunately in that team fight it was against the Ali. But now we see MENA go on with a fight onto the Clash Lane turret there, almost the only standing first tier turret left for S2G is that Clash Lane, but they're holding on for now.
Beautiful play here from AGHK. Again, the combo coming in, and even Devil flashing forward in the end as well in the mid lane. You know, he is not playing with any fear at all. He just wants to flash in. Another ultimate coming in from HoYi, doesn't connect this time around. But they're being so proactive with these ultimates from HoYi, and it's what's making them go so far ahead, get so far ahead in gold in this game. Looks like Myosotis trying to catch out one of the members off guard. Bang. Another ultimate coming in, and look at this, the frozen combo again from Princess Frost, and Sora is down. This combo is absolutely disgusting. Like, they've done this for 2 games now in this finals, and there's nothing you could do about it. The HoYi ultimate lands, the chain CC combo comes in, you can't move for a good 5 seconds, and by the time that you can move again, you're back in base.
The stun so long, Stu, that winter comes and goes as well, it seems. So the seasons change with that stun duration. And like you say, it's a disgusting but very effective combo for AGHK. Landing it once more onto Rekner, I think it was there. Yes, Hino goes down. We see Snow pick up a double kill as well. Is this going to be the game-ending finish here for AGHK with 8 minutes on the board, going into that 9-minute mark there as a take the higher ground turret in the Clash Lane. Everybody but Closer is dead, and in that spawn, that Closer is just going to try and take out that minion so he can't push that crystal. But unfortunately for S2G, they take down another loss, and AGHK become your second grand finalist. It is the wildcard qualifier final all over again. Rematch, the Vicious versus AGHK.
Beautiful play again from AGHK, not dropping a single game in this entire EMEA finals so far. A clean 2-0 against oh my god, I've got that against Axmina. You've got the name there for a second. A clean 2-0 in the quarterfinals against Axmina. Now a pretty clean 2-0 in the semifinals as well against S2G. And as you mentioned, Blam, we're gonna have a rematch tomorrow of that wild card final. AGHK versus the Vicious, and I'm sure the Vicious will definitely want their revenge this time around, but AGHK just look completely unstoppable in every single game that they play.
Absolutely, you're not wrong there, Stu, to be honest. I mean, if that Prince of Landling pocket pick coming through that was just able to keep S2G for guessing where that engage was going to come from that jungler, and just not able to actually catch it out. I don't think we actually saw Prince of Landling die once. The only person to die on the side of AGHK, I believe, was the was it either Dolia or Princess Frost, I think, maybe, or even MENA. It's one of those ones. I know for a fact it wasn't Prince of Landling because we didn't see that little portrait come out. Oh, it was Zhang Fei. No, it was the Landling, sorry. Okay, there was me getting delusional with my Myosotis. But yeah, again, they're only getting caught out once in that entire match, but Myosotis giving that 5-1-6 KDA performance is clean. But once again, even Xinling getting a piece of the pie with that 4-0-8, and then Snow again, 2 back-to-back games, no deaths. This Clash Lane is diff.
Yeah, but it's pretty strong across the board, performing incredibly strong. Again, the combo of Zeiss and Devil, the synergy of this team as well. You just know that when a team plays together for such a long time, you build up this synergy, you build up the combinations, you build up these strategies that maybe other teams haven't thought of before. And AGHK is really the only team that are bringing out this HoYi and also the Princess Frost in the mid lane. Somehow, Devil has played 4 games now in this EMEA finals, and he has had Princess Frost every single time. Zeiss has picked HoYi twice and also Lady Sun twice. They're really trying to kind of find their own now and find their own play style, and it's working so well at them so far in this EMEA finals.
Yep, as you saw, 2-0. We got a 2-0 today, but it wasn't a complete 2-0 sweep across the board. Thanks to Major Pride for putting up a little bit of a fight against the Vicious, as we would say, compared to AGHK, because they dropped all 4 rounds against their 1 victory against them in that wildcard qualifier. They are probably they probably are the weaker team, because we see how formulated AGHK are, but is all that a ruse by the Vicious? Obviously, all these questions will be answered tomorrow, but here are some of the highlights from that game, where we see just pure, unrelenting, just focus from AGHK onto every single lane. Obviously, Clash lane got a little less love, but it was actually the way that they got into that crystal towards the end in game 2. And again, as I was saying for Myosotis, it's just able to sort of clear the paranoia on the side of S2G and then pick up the Arlie, pick up the lane, and then Iraqi Zoro just manages to get out with very little health. But again, picking up the... Okay, Iraqi Zoro was very close to dying there once again. If it wasn't for the Unbridled Rage, Shield, and Health, it would have been pretty much over for Iraqi Zoro if he had a squishier hero in this game too. But there, he does fall to Dolia. However, the hero we picked up in that game 1 came back for revenge. And the MVP goes over to Devil on that Frost. And he is a pure Devil on this pick, as we saw from yesterday and we saw today. Back-to-back Princess Frost picks. Nobody banning the Princess Frost from Devil.
I was very surprised if Princess Frost goes through in the final as well, to be honest with you, because this is a pick that Devil has been performing flawlessly on this entire tournament. We'll have to work out after, you know, today and kind of work out his KDA as well across every single game, because I'm pretty sure he has not died many times. He's probably only died once or twice in 4 games of this EMEA finals on this pick so far. But overall, as you was mentioning, you know, a great performance from AGHK. I really feel like they have come into their own now. They've kind of proven what we thought was going to come from them at the start of this EMEA finals, that they were going to be one of the strongest teams. But now we're going to be heading to an interview with one of the members of AGHK. Let's take a watch.
فيكم مرة أخرى. عندنا حاليا فريق AG هونغ كونغ الفائز بالسيمي فاينل الثاني، واللي حيقابل ذا فيشس بكرة بالنهائي. عندنا نفس الشباب، عندنا مارتن وديفل. This time I will call him Devil. I remember from yesterday. وحنسألهم شوي عن مجريات هاي المباراة واختياراتهم اللي كانت مفاجئة. ونبدأ بالجيم الأول. Devil, this time I call you Devil, not Martin. The first game you picked Athena. This was a surprise pick for us. Were you saving her? Is it a secret weapon?
Yeah, it's cool, right? Okay. Actually, the coach told us to choose it, as it's actually our special weapon.
اوكي انا سالته طبعا اختياره على اثينا باول جيم، ليش السبب انه اخترته؟ قال هاي خطه سحريه، والمدرب اللي حنحكي عنه بعد شوي لانه في سؤال جاي عليه، المدرب حكى لهم اختاروا. Also then second game you picked Prince Lanling. This was even bigger surprise. What's the secret behind that?
Actually, we think this hero is quite strong and is quite useful to our team at that match.
اوكي، فانا سالته على برنس لانلينج، برضو اختيار كان مفاجئ. حكى لي هذا الهيرو بالذات هو اختيار، يعني هو اصلا هيرو قوي كتير وما في كتير ناس بيختاروه، حبينا نفاجئ لانه احنا عارفين انه خيار قوي. And Martin, you mentioned to me yesterday that you have some secret things, and one of the secret weapon is your coach. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, and then as you see today, because every pick and every band is made by our coach, and then the coach, that's why is our secret weapon. And today you see Princess Landing and then Athena, and as you see, and then we played it so well.
فسألته أنا إنه أنتم امبارح ذكرتوا لي إنه كان عندكم خطة اللي هي اللي مخبيينها، اللي هي كانت الكوتش. فسألته شو الموضوع الكوتش، فحكى لي زي ما شفت اليوم الاختيارات كانت كلها من الكوتش، كانت كلها مفاجئة، وهاي استراتيجيتنا كانت بهذا الجيم. So the coach also will have secrets for the final?
Yeah, and then I just heard about some little birds just told me we'll pick some special hero that's moving so fast and flying around.
Maybe we see Jing?
Maybe you ask that. You ask that.
We see Jing maybe in final?
Yeah, maybe. We are good at this.
Okay, and one last question. Tomorrow you will go in the final against the Vicious. You already beat the Vicious 4-1, qualifying to here to come to Abu Dhabi. So do you expect the same score or maybe this time 5-0 or what's your expectation?
Yeah, we expect 3-0. Yeah, last time BO7, this time BO5. Yes, let's see what will happen.
So you expect 3-0?
Yeah.
Okay. Martin, you want to say anything?
Just to make it too easy to us again. Just like yesterday Dave was just said, but we will have faith in it. And then, yeah, please support us. Yeah.
طبعا سألتهم أكمل سؤال أول سؤال إنه هل حنشوف اختيارات مفاجئة برضه بالفاينل قالوا ما بنعرف ممكن فضلكم يعني مترقبين بعدين سألته إنه بكرة حتكون مباراتكم ضد فيشس وأنتوا اوريدي لعبتوا معهم أصلا تأهلتوا بالفوز عليهم 4-1 كانت بيست اوف 7 سألت ديفل قال لي احنا متوقعين 3-0 من دون أي مشاكل وعندهم اللاكي تشارم كمان What is the name of this?
This name is Hashiwale.
Hashiwale?
Yeah, it's a famous Japanese anime characters. Okay. Yeah, it's very famous now.
سألته على اسم الكاركتر أو التشارم اللي عندهم هاشيوالي or something. Okay. Thank you so much Martin. Thank you so much Devil. We wish you the best of luck in final. كان معاكم أخوكم عبد الله ونرجع لزيكا يحكي لنا أكثر على تفاصيل هاي المباراة.
Great to hear from Devil and also their manager Martin there as well with a little lucky charm there, giving them a bit of luck. But to be honest, I don't think they need the luck, to be honest with you. After the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, they call their coach the special weapon as well. You know, talking about picks like the Athena, like the Prince of Langling as well. And I'm really excited to see what picks they're going to come up with in the finals as well tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely something interesting to see and wait for. I mean, again, this is a team that has a vast amount of experience. Yes, a lot of the heroes that are available on the Chinese server and the client isn't quite available for them, so they do have to adapt their picks to this, but I feel like that is probably the least of their issues. Like we heard from their introductory video, the biggest issue is time difference, and if that's the case, then every other obstacle will be super easy for AGHK, but it is going to be AGHK going off once again against the Vicious, also used to be known as obviously Omega Nemesis. So let's see if the name change is going to buff the Vicious in this best of 5, because they had the best of 7 chance against AGHK in the finals of the qualifier, but now they have effectively 2 less rounds, so they've got to bring out all those cards to stay in this best of 5.
2 less games, a best of 5s, but as we know, in a LAN environment, anything can happen. And I'm, again, like I said, really excited to see this finals. You know, we've mentioned how AGHK, and they also mentioned in the interview as well, how AGHK beat the Vicious 4-1 over, and Devil was like, yeah, we're going to beat them 3-0. Martin was like, yeah, don't make it too easy for us, give us a bit of competition. And it just looks like AGHK are full of confidence, and why shouldn't they be? A clean sweep at the moment, all the way through the quarterfinals, all the way through the semi-finals as well. They have not dropped a single game, and the only team as well to not drop a single game through this EMEA finals. And the Vicious are going to have to go home tonight. They're going to have to prepare for something special, because I feel like anything that the Vicious throw at AGHK, they've got their pocket picks themselves that they're going to come out with, and I'm sure they're going to perform extremely well with as well.
Yeah, like I said about the Vicious, the coach did say all they're going to do for the rest of the day is scrim, 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 scrim. So you can imagine that they're going to be either tightening up some existing combos or coming up with something a little bit more newer to try and throw off AGHK. But it seems like AGHK is mirroring that behavior anyway, because they were like, well, we've got some secret weapons that are going to come through in this best of 5 grand finals that probably they're not even going to be aware of. So that makes me super excited for these grand finals. I think everyone else should be very, very excited going into the last day of the EMEA finals in the split 1. So again, whoever wins tomorrow books their ticket to Malaysia to play against some really amazing teams in the season 2 invitational.
It'd be really exciting to see AGHK, if they do win tomorrow, or even the Vicious as well, come up against these powerhouses in the Invitational Season 2. Because as you mentioned, there's already so many strong teams in the Invitational Season 2. You have the Invitational 1 winners. You also have a couple of teams from SEA that have also qualified as well, from the Philippines and Malaysia, that also from their qualifiers looked extremely strong. And the Invitational Season 2 is looking completely stacked as well. But we'll obviously have to wait and find out tomorrow to see who it's going to be in that final, one final best of 5 tomorrow, to see who is going to win and who is going to win the crown of the EMEA title, will also win and go to Malaysia as well. We're also starting an hour later, I should say, tomorrow as well. Instead of 4 p.m. CST, we are starting at 5 p.m. CST. So make sure you keep that in mind as well. When we get into the finals tomorrow, we'll be here, of course, for all the build-up. We'll be talking about the teams. We'll be talking about what to expect from the draft and everything else. But before we go, Blam, any sort of expectations that you're expecting tomorrow? What's your prediction, I guess you could say, for tomorrow? A little glimpse of what you think might happen tomorrow. As an expert of the wildcard, and also you've obviously watched these two teams numerous amount of times now.
I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some spanner in the works that are going to be thrown at me. So they've already been hinting to these pocket pick central. That seems what tomorrow is going to be. But obviously, it is going to be 24 hours. I imagine I'm probably going to lose a lot of sleep over these pocket picks. But hopefully you guys don't, and do join us an hour later tomorrow, as this is the end of the semi-finals. We will see you all for the grand finals tomorrow, guys. So make sure you get enough sleep. Make sure you prepare your mental, and we're going to have a fantastic best of 5 between these two wildcard teams. So see you tomorrow.